the Affordable Care Act. The U.S. government reports it is aware of the kidnapping of an American Christian missionary in the West African nation of Niger. Sources told Fox News they suspect that the missionary has been taken north to Islamic State-controlled areas where an offshoot of ISIS operates. It is a top priority for the Trump administration to look after the safety of every American, and we are seeing efforts from across the U.S. government to support the recovery and safe return of this U.S. citizen. Following the kidnapping, the U.S. Embassy in Niger said it now requires all personnel to travel only in armored vehicles and announced that all restaurants and open-air markets are off limits. Our quote of the day: from humility of heart proceeds serenity of mind, gentleness of conduct, interior peace in every good. St. Paul of the Cross. And coming up, our saint of the day. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
When most people hear the word coffee, they conjure up visions of a ceramic mug in the palm of both hands and a woman slowly sipping. This isn't a Folgers commercial. It's for Cappuccino Holy Roast, and here's how I take mine. With a dash of vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Cappuccino Holy Roast in whole bean or grind is available at shop.mychurch.com. We don't work on Sundays, and you shouldn't work on Sundays, but our priests work every Sunday.
And we literally thank God for that, because who else could turn a lazy Sunday into a spiritual adventure? We invite you to spend your Sundays with our priests on Sermon Sundays, exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Get timely, seasonal, inspirational, and educational sermons from Catholic priests, all wrapped up in the best Catholic sacred chant music that's so heavenly, it might just make your halo glow. That's Sermon Sunday, where faith meets fun without missing a beat.
Catch all new seasonal sermons every Sunday morning, 6 a.m. East to 6 p.m. exclusively here on the Crusade Channel.
And now, for the first time ever, those soul-stirring sermons you soak up on Sunday are available as podcasts Monday through Saturday on crusade.com. Because even divine wisdom needs a replay button. And who wouldn't want a holy encore to kick off their week without the risk of divine intervention for hitting snooze?
Our saint of the day is St. John of Capistrano. John of Capistrano was born in 1386, when 1/3 of the population and nearly 40% of the clergy were wiped out by the bubonic plague. The Western Schism split the church, with 2 or 3 claimants to the Holy See at one time. England and France were at war. The city-states of Italy were in constant conflict. Imprisoned after a battle, he resolved to change his way of life completely, and at the age of 30 entered the Franciscan novitiate and was ordained a priest 4 years later. John of Capistrano's preaching attracted great throngs at a time of religious apathy and confusion. He and 12 Franciscan brethren were received in the countries of Central Europe as angels of God. The Franciscan order itself was in turmoil over the interpretation and observance of the rule of St. Francis. Through John's tireless efforts and his expertise in law, the heretical fraticelli were suppressed and the spirituals were freed from interference in their stricter observance. When the Turks captured Constantinople in 453, John was commissioned to preach a crusade for the defense of Europe. He led an army to Belgrade, and under the great General John Hunyadi, they gained an overwhelming victory, and the siege of Belgrade was lifted. But he was worn out by his superhuman efforts and easy prey to an infection after the battle. Capistrano died on October 23, 1456. An elderly woman just scored a landmark court win against her neighbor that forces him to stop smoking weed in his own home. 76-year-old Josefa Ippolito Shepard of Washington, D.C., said the smell emanating from the 73-year-old next-door resident's doorway made her dread coming home. She said she even vomited when her neighbor, who lives on the ground level of an adjoining home, lit up, so she sued. She said she wasn't interested in the money, just in getting fresh air in her home, and she won, according to the Washington Post. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Channel, seeking news and finding truth.
Hey, Jim, remember when we used to be like Joe Walsh?
I like hit records, my fans, they can't wait.
Now we just talk about making hit records. Well, parody versions of hit records.
Join the KingDude and Jim Mosier as they pick apart the greatest parody songs of all time and the hits they were based on. It's Album Autopsy, exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and podcast radio the way it should be, and doesn't disappoint your mother.
once again on the leading edge of MAGA consummation. Called it. Zoran the Magnificent Kami Mandani. Somebody else thinks he's up to tequila. It's not just me. Greetings to you, crusaders across the amber waves of MAGA Restoration. The Mike Church Show is on, Xing the question of the day.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Well, I'll tell you.
In order to ensure the security and continuing stability, the Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire.
No, you can't.
For a safe and secure society.
So I'm calling on Congress to pass these reforms, and I'm going to sign them into law. You fall down the thunder, well, now you got it. You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
All righty, our call-in line telephone number, if you'd like to be on the program today, 844-527-8723, 844-5-CRUSADE. Email address, same as it ever has been. I am KingDude at protonmail.com. And Crusader Stadium chat room is open for your commentary at crusadechannel.com/chat. This portion of the program brought to you by the Founders Trading Post store. So many new books to tell you about, including today. I actually made a list. How about this one? The Transhumanist Temptation. How Technology and Ideology Are Reshaping Humanity and How to Resist by Grayson Quay. Instant live radio ad. Ain't it great? Lots going on here tonight. Boy, that debate last night in New Tenochtitlan City. You know, for people that follow politics, this is like Super Bowl every other November or so. When this candidate or that candidate has to duke it out. Of course, it's also the season for it's a time of the season for this is all rigged, it's all stupid, the whole thing is a bust, we must destroy the whole thing and start over again. There is that. There is also the, depending on where you are, some people may hope for something better and an escape from something that's awful, like a Biden. There's also times for revelations. 3 days ago, today's Thursday, 4 days ago, so on Monday's Mike Church Show, I threw the idea out that Zoran the Magnificent Kami Mandani is practicing tequila. And that he's not a socialist, he's not a communist, he's too stupid to be one. What he is a con man seeking to grab a foothold for Sharia law in Manhattan. And heaven knows there are certainly enough Islamics and Muslims there to make that happen. You don't have to have a majority. You just need to have a loud, boisterous, vocal minority and some access to power. As a matter of fact, if you read Bat Yor's chapter in Eastern Christianity under Islam, the decline of Eastern Christianity under Islam, and he has an entire chapter. That's where I learned about it. He has an entire chapter about tequila in there. I want to say that Hilary Belloc has a chapter in the Great Heresies, calling Islam the greatest of all heresy. Of course, most people think that Protestantism is. But in the chapter on Islam, Belloc also explains tequila and how the Muslims do what they do to basically con people into thinking that they're doing something else. That's what happens. So it's interesting to me that finally last night, I've been waiting for anyone, to stand up to this Mamdani creep and go like, you know what, dude, you're just a liar. You're a con man. You're a flipping con man. So finally, last night, Sliwa and Cuomo. Now, I think that Andrew Cuomo has the actual creds, if you will, to tell Zoran the magnificent Kami Mamdani and to embarrass him politically, because it is true. If you're looking for someone that is politically accomplished in New Tenochtitlan City, well, then, of those that are left standing, then Cuomo's your guy. Cuomo's is the one that was the governor. Cuomo's the one that was he the mayor? No, he wasn't the mayor, was he? Are you changing the YouBoo page?
I don't remember.
Okay, well let me take it over because I can do it. It's just one little cut and paste that you have to make. Did you do it?
No, I just quit the page.
Oh, okay, all right. Amazing how people take all those things for granted, and so do we, until it doesn't work. And that's, well, oh my Lord! Am I the only one that lost audio?
Nope.
You're also the only one that got the
Super high-tech jet fighter.
engine that just roared to life. In any event, I love the line Cuomo tells Mamdani. Basically, you're just, you know what, son, sit down and shut up, okay? The adults in the room are talking. The people that have actually had some experience in actually doing something with their life are now holding the stage. You've never done anything, so just sit down and shut up. But isn't this where we are today? It is the fantasy that you can have something for nothing, which is what the commies promise. No, poor person, you don't have to do anything. We're going to make your life better. All you have to do is give me this thing called a vote, you see. And if you give that vote thing to me, why, the streets are going to, for the poor people, for the downtrodden, for those who are disadvantaged and what have you, you're going to, no, we're going to line the streets with gold for you. You don't have to do anything, just vote. What a simplistic, attractive, yet deceitful, diabolical thing to say and then to do. And this is the scam that is our liberal democracy. As a matter of fact, Rod Dreher has a good piece about this today. And I think that it's something that we've been talking about for 15 years here on the Mike Church Show. And Dreher's piece basically says the impossibility of post-Christian liberalism. Is it possible? Can you even have a Christian democratic society? I don't think that it's possible to build one or rebuild one somewhere, but across the breadth of a continent? Are you watching what these Democrats are out there doing? By the way, just running down a couple of news items real quick here. 3 U.S. citizens were killed. Let's just say they were slaughtered, because they were slaughtered on Interstate 10. And okay, I saw the byline. It's in California, right outside of L.A. Oh gosh, what's the name of the city? It'll come to me in a moment. Were slaughtered by an illegal immigrant, an illegal alien, criminal trespasser with a commercial driver's license, who apparently was whacked out on fentanyl or some other drug, was doing 60 miles an hour and did 60 miles an hour into a traffic jam where he never tapped his brakes once and hit the rear of a white SUV and completely and totally destroyed it. You know, I saw the helicopter shot. It'll make you cry. There is nothing left. It looked like a ball, a black ball. Giant metallic and plastic and glass black ball. is what that SUV was reduced to. That family or whoever the people were in that car never had a chance. They probably never saw it coming. And if they did, there was nothing they could do. They were blocked in the front. There was nowhere for them to go. He hit them at, I'm just guessing, 50 miles an hour. He hit them as they were standing still at 50 miles an hour and plowed them into the car in front of, to the vehicle in front of them. And then just turned a 24-foot long SUV of some sort into an 8-foot long burning. The whole thing just immolated. It just exploded, and the three people that were inside dead. Then this guy skids off the highway, hits another person in another car, almost kills them, and then there's a guy on the side of the highway that's trying to fix his truck. His hood is up, and he hits him, and then finally runs into the to the embankment there. Dude has no injuries to himself, none, 0.0. He was taken into custody. He was drug tested, and apparently they're not saying what substance he was on, but he was on a substance. They come to find out he's an illegal alien criminal trespasser who was caught at the southern border in Baja by ICE in 2022 and then released into the California public. Apparently, somewhere along the line, because if you see the helicopter footage, what remains of that car and of his truck, he was driving a tractor-trailer semi with 18 wheels. Unless there are lawbreakers out there that are commissioning people to do this, and I don't know that there aren't, but unless there are, he had a commercial driver's license. It's a safe bet. And we'll find out today because they will do the due diligence on it. It's a safe bet that it was issued by the state of California. So California has now killed 3 more American citizens with its zeal to put illegal alien criminal trespassing lunatics behind the wheel of 80 to 120,000 pounds of moving glass, metal, and steel and plastic. This is an outrage here. I want to know, is Gruesome Newsom going to stop the Orange Man Bad Part 2 tour long enough to console the family, the survivors of the 3 that were killed, that were immolated in that car?
I can't believe there was just 3 dead.
Yeah, well, there's more that are injured.
There's 4 injured.
There's 4 that are injured. There's 3 that were killed. Folks, the dashboard camera has already been obtained from the Sikh wacko, and you can see he doesn't even. There is no attempt to stop. It is almost as though this was, I would say, this was an act of terrorism that he intended to smash into that car, and he intended to do what he did to cause loss of life. He's been charged with vehicular manslaughter. How about vehicular homicide? This is a killing. In any event, it seems Illinois, California, and New York still are issuing commercial driver's licenses to semi-tractor trailer drivers who are illegal alien criminal trespassers. This is a major problem here because we don't have checkpoints in between states. Do you have the papers, old man? You can cross the border without the papers. No, I do not have the papers. I only have a piece of paper from Gavin Newsom. It says I can drive and kill anywhere in U.S. Boy, that'd be a great bit for the Mike Church Show band to make here, huh? Sometimes a James Bondian license to kill bit because you went to California and got a commercial driver's license. Enough of this is enough, folks. So we will wait and see. He is in ICE custody. Is it Inglewood? I think it's Inglewood, where the accident actually took place. So if it's on I-10, it's
In Ontario.
Ontario. That's what it is. It's on its. You're on your way into the city, you know, because I-10 is going to terminate basically at Interstate 5, which goes north and south. Well, somewhere around there. So in any event, that is, so 3 killed in Florida, dozens injured across the United States, and now 3 more killed in California. How many more people have to be mowed over by these illegal aliens driving these trucks. Here's what I want to know. There's a couple of angles to this. Who's hiring illegal alien criminal trespassers with CDLs to haul their cargo? I want to know whose cargo that lunatic was hauling. I want to know who said yes when he applied for the gig, and then who signed off on what dispatcher said, oh, give it to Muhammad, give it to Mahmoud or whatever. Yeah, he can drive it from wherever to wherever in L.A. You know, when my buddy who's running for Congress, Dwayne Stovall, and I hope Dwayne gets elected, when Dwayne was running for the U.S. Senate in Texas against John Cornyn in 2012, I think it was 2000, either 2010 or 2012. We ran twice. You know, one of Dwayne's initiatives, he said, if you elect me to the U.S. Senate, I will pass. I will get a bill passed in the Senate, and the bill will say something to the effect that there must be criminal penalties for hiring the violators of immigration laws. If you're tagged and released, you can't work. You have to go home because it's illegal to hire you. Ladies and gentlemen, are we this stupid? This isn't hard to figure out. I was telling Maggie today, look at what basically you're faced with here. In the United States today, the Democrat Party has decided that the hill it is going to die on is illegal alien criminal trespasser killer hill. That's the hill it's going to die on. It is willing to put all the eggs in the basket, and I guess that only makes demographic sense because they can't win elections any other way. And so this is like, this is literally Custer's or Pelosi's, the Democrats' last stand. I just don't know who is telling them that this polls well, that you're going to put illegal alien criminal trespassers, killers, and the people that want to set them free against all the rest of the citizens of the United States. Which side are most people, well, I guess most sane and rational people, what side are they going to fall down on? I don't think they're going to fall down on the Mamdani side or the gruesome Newsom side here. So who is telling these people that this is a sound theory or sound policy or that this makes any sort of practical or pragmatic sense? Because it seems to just be pulled out of a hat. It's so amazingly stupid. Then you have the Democrats running around. Let me give you a number. I want to give you a number. Want a number? 41 million. Here's the number again. 41 million. Okay. Better chart play it. What does 41 million mean? Okay. 41 million Americans are currently receiving SNAP benefits. 330 potential citizens, 41 million of them are receiving SNAP, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program benefits. So if you do a little math, what is that, 15% of the population? Roughly 15% of the population can't feed itself. Now, this amongst a population that is 65% obese. This amongst a population that is in the low 40s. I don't know what the exact percentage is this year, but in the low 40% morbidly obese. Maybe there's a reason why they can't.
It's a total of 12.3% of the U.S. population.
Okay, so Maggie is giving me the actual stats. It's 12.3% of the actual U.S. population is on SNAP.
That was according to 2024.
That's the 2024 census. That's an embarrassment.
Insane.
And again, I'm just going to throw this out here, and I don't know why the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, instead of agitating for more illegal alien criminal trespassers to be forced into the U.S. so that they can launder money for the federal government, take it into their diocese, and supposedly care for these people, why am I not hearing that? Well, that's okay, because Catholics and the Catholic Church stands at the ready to see to it that the nutrition and food requirement needs of all Americans are met. Any individual diocese could come out and say that, well, in our diocese, if anyone that's on SNAP and you're truly in need of assistance, please call the church. We have families and businesses that are ready to assist you. And again, this could be a great movement here in the United States to restore actual charity from the American people. Instead of having your money stolen from you through the tax code, laundered through Mordor and the Potomac River or Baton Rouge, and then allegedly sent back to the poor, why can't it just come directly from you? Seems to me, again, we talked about middlemen yesterday. That's just cutting out a lot of middlemen and a lot of nonprofit NGOs that are skimming tens of billions of dollars off the top to fund and feed themselves and their cushy lifestyles. So, lots more to talk about. By the way, does Trump need permission from some almighty, wise overlord council to renovate the White House? No.
You may not believe it, but Bram Stoker's Dracula may be a work of non-fiction.
What? That's scarier than getting stuck in an elevator with Jasmine Crockett.
Oh, good grief. Really? Come on, I'm trying to be serious here. Okay. Hear it and other amazing tales on Turley's Believe It or Else, 10 to 11 a.m. Central, every Tuesday on the Crusade Channel. Our app and always on crusadechannel.com. Live talk and podcast radio.
The way it should be.
Listen up, Red, White, and Dude Nation fans. Now, if you wear one new t-shirt this spring, then make sure you pour yourself into a new Mike Church Show neon microphone t-shirt. Printed on beautiful 100% soft cotton tees, the logo's so cool. It's even more cool than burning unburdened by what has been stickers. Available in sizes medium through Alvin Bragg sized 3X. Be the best dressed dude at your cigar shop or the coolest dressed gal at Junior's soccer match. Order today at shop.mikechurch.com. Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Channel News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Thursday, October 23rd, 2025. This report is brought to you by Capuchin Holy Roast Coffee, a blend personally crafted by Mike Church, made from South American and Africa's finest gourmet coffee beans, and roasted to perfection. Available in whole bean or ground. Pick up a bag or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com. In the market report, the Dow was down 0.71%, the S&P dropped 0.53%, NASDAQ was down 0.93%. In National Day calendar news, today is Swallows Depart from San Juan Capistrano Day. For generations, the return of the swallows to the historic Mission San Juan Capistrano in California has been a celebrated event. According to legend, the tradition began in the 1700s when a local innkeeper destroyed the swallows' mud nests. Seeing the homeless birds, a compassionate priest at the mission, Father St. John O'Sullivan, welcomed them, saying, "Come on, swallows, I'll give you shelter." Today is National Mole Day. It's also National TV Talk Show Day and iPod Day and Boston Cream Pie Day. Our quote of the day: "From humility of heart proceeds serenity of mind, gentleness of conduct, interior peace, and every good." St. Paul of the Cross. And our saint of the day is St. John of Capistrano. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
Hal, open the pod bay doors.
I'm sorry, I can't do that, KingDude.
Hal, why can't you open the pod bay doors?
Because, KingDude, MAGA Earth isn't ready for you yet.
When will MAGA Earth be ready for me, Hal?
When 1.76 trillion scales have fallen from their eyes. Oh.
Yes, Hal.
And KingDude, they'll also need a wicked sense of humor.
Don't be stuck in the broadcasting world of 2001. Grab a Crusade-size update and catch the Mike Church shows weekdays from 7 to 10 a.m. East, exclusively on the Crusade Channel Live Talk and Podcast Radio for the 2025 listener, the way it should be.
The fastest 3 hours in all of broadcast media, the Mike Church Show. 34 years young on the Crusade Channel, soon to be 10 years young. Here on a Thursday. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at mypillow.com/KingDude. It's mypillow.com/KingDude. For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com/KingDude. You know, I got this method. I think you just go ahead and buy two. If you wear an extra large t-shirt, that's yours. Order XL. Then order a small. And I'm going to tell you why. You take the XL, MyPillow, that's your foundation. You take the small and put it on top of the foundation. And because it's shorter, and you got a place to lay a comfy place to lay your head, and because it's nice and fluffy and pillowy and vaulted and what have you here, your cheek and your nose is off of the pillow below, so you got a nice little breathing space in there, and you really talk about the best night's sleep in the whole wide world. Try it today. Try the KingDude MyPillow method. I need to talk to Mike Lindell. Listen up here, Lindell. I've got a plan to sell more MyPillows and give people even better night's sleep. It's the KingDude Mike Church plan, but you'll have to go to mypillow.com/KingDude to get your pillows and to begin. And before you head to the bed for the evening, make sure you have your My Slippers on, because they're really nice and comfy as well. So visit them today. Make sure you use our code KingDude at checkout. mypillow.com/KingDude. Tell them I sent you. Gosh, there's so much stuff. Okay, they had another vote yesterday in the Senate. That's the 12th. They're 12-0. This is now the second longest shutdown of the government in history. Remember when Trump was arrested and they mugshot him and then they convicted him, right? And he was going around, they convicted me of 34 felonies. That's more than even the famous Alphonse Capone. You ever heard of Al Capone? It's more, we're going to make doing time great again. It's going to be great. They're going to have, where do you see this in the jail? Where do you see what we do to the inside of the jails, okay? It's going to be, I think, what do you think? I don't know, JD, what do you think? This is probably what he's doing now, if he's doing his impersonation of himself at the White House. We're going to make shutdowns great again. We're going to show the American people that we don't need the Democrats' government. The Democrats, the people that they want to fund, aren't the poor. That's not who they want to fund. They want to fund their buddies doing this and that and the other. The longer this goes on, and the more there is because I think in the previous times that this has happened, you didn't have the kind of leadership, and certainly not the kind of what's the word? It's not core esprit or court esprit, but it's close. That you have with this one, because a lot of people are going like, dude, just shut the whole damn thing down. I don't care. Most of your MAGA Republicans are going like, hey, man, this is awesome, dude. Hey, man, hold my beer. Hey, fellas, watch this. You want to see what I can do on a government shutdown? Hold my beer. And I'm going to say it again for the benefit of those that are tuned in for the first time, and welcoming all of you listening on 990 AM WGSO and New Orleans. I'm going to say this again. What an awesome opportunity, instead of whining and bellyaching about how the government's not feeding people and the SNAP program and this and that and the other. It's a great chance for Christian people to actually step up and go, don't worry about it, we got this. We always would have had it if you guys would have just gotten out of the way and stopped the official fleecing and the forced charity, which isn't charity at all. Have you done any actual charity this year? You know, you're in confession. Have you performed any actual charity, my son? I let them tax me and take like $15,000 out of my paycheck. Does that count? And literally, that's pretty much the size of the grift. And one more thing that I would like to cover today, and we're going to cover a lot. By the way, we have a very special guest, Susie Pinto, of the she hosts the show I watched the entire episode yesterday. God Bless America.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Our guest in the last hour. Oh, my Lord. One Nation Under God. It was the first time I ever watched it, so forget it. And I watched the whole show, and I'm going, this is pretty good. This is interesting on News Nation. It's on News Nation. How many of you know the history of how the White House came to be the White House? I don't want to bore people with the nitty-gritty details, so I'm going to skip most of it. I think it's an interesting story. As a matter of fact, some of it is actually relayed in David McCullough's book, John Adams, because Adams was the first person to live in the White House. Washington oversaw the construction over it, but it was John Adams who was actually the first president to actually live there. And he complained the whole time he was there. Well, Adams complained about everything, let's be honest. How many of you know how the grounds that are called, what we call the White House at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, how they came to be? Well, in 1790, there was an act that came from Congress called the Residency Act. And the Residency Act was basically the end result of a deal that was made by a young James Madison, Congressman Madison, Thomas Jefferson, who I believe would have been Secretary of State then. Let's see who else was in on it. I want to say that maybe Vice President Adams had something to do with it, George Washington. And what they basically did was, because there was a scheme where there was this thing called assumption, and Hamilton was involved. There was a thing called assumption. Hamilton was lobbying Congress to buy the debt of the Confederacy or the Confederation and of the states that they had racked up during the war. For example, Shays' Rebellion was the result of soldiers that had fought in the Revolutionary War under Washington not being paid. And then Governor Bowdoin went after them for taxes, and they didn't have the money to pay. So they were sending tax collectors out into the western hinterlands of Massachusetts, the people in Boston were, to confiscate their property and sell it off. And, of course, they're like, dude, the reason we can't pay is because we fought in the war for your liberation, stupid. So there was a scheme called assumption. And Hamilton wanted the federal government, the new federal government, to buy the debts. And there was very little support for this. The compromise was that we're going to have the Residency Act. You're going to build the White House, and Virginia is going to cede some territory. Maryland is going to cede some territory, and we're going to carve out the 10-mile square with all the fine ornaments of human life, as Patrick Henry called it. And then we're going to provide for, in the Residency Act, a dwelling place for the executive, for the president. And that's pretty much the end of it. And they told Washington that, you can build a house, you can build whatever you want. Washington put some architects and stuff together, but he completely chose them. There was no law that was passed that said, and therefore you shall, and thou shalt report to the wise federal overlord White House Planning Commission. This is so unbelievably stupid that people would actually think, okay, well, where did the White House came from? Who was the first? Whose idea was it? Washington's, pretty much. Who oversaw the construction? Washington. And he never lived there, but he oversaw it. The idea here that somehow, can you imagine George Washington reporting to a bureaucrat? And George Washington is, well, you want me to report to who? No, I shall not report to that man. I won't do it. I'm capable of building my own home. This tradition pretty much continued on for forever. There was, were there planning commissions? Yeah. So what? There was a Grace Commission to look at the debt situation in the 1980s. It's not a law, it's a commission. So the leftards out there are acting as Trump is not reporting to the commission. He's refusing to heed the wishes of the commission. There is no commission without him. He does not have to have a commission. It is being presented as though there is some sort of... that there is some sort of law or holy writ that must be applied and obeyed. In 2010, Barack Hussein Obama undertook a $340 million renovation and expansion of the East Wing of the White House. Did you know that? I didn't know it because I didn't throw a fit about it. Maybe I remember. Do you remember it? I don't remember. To tell you the truth, I don't remember it. There's a reporterette for CNN, Susan Malvo, I believe is her name, that somebody found the 2010 clip of her walking around where the bulldozers are tearing down a wall and digging a ginormous trench to build this renovation here. And I don't recall anyone crying into their weak tea or into their gnocchi that our president is literally destroying our White House. And then they say, well, Obama had a commission. You know why? Because Obama was an incompetent fool. Obama, like the magnificent moron, Zoran, the magnificent Kami Mandani, Obama had never built anything in his life outside of Lincoln Logs or Legos. So Obama had no experience in doing anything other than fleecing people. Can you say the same of President Trump? Trump's the one that's walking around the Federal Reserve building going, I don't think you need, how much are they hitting you for, Jerome? Yeah, I think you're getting to it. That's not right. It's not, I know a lot about this. I built a lot of stuff. It's not right. Okay, it's not right. So they're all losing their minds over. What are they really losing their minds over? Accomplishment. It is the fact that the man accomplishes things outside of the realm of politics. A building is not political. It is a structure. People that have skills can build them. People that don't have skills sit and watch the people with skills build them and then complain about it. Which side is almost all the political class on? The people that watch and complain about it side. But I will guarantee you, when it's finished, it will probably be the envy of ballrooms across the world. Just as, great here, folks, you kids, don't try this at home. I'm a professional. This is called the radio pivot. So big, beautiful ballroom's going to be built in addition to the White House. It's going to be the envy of executive mansions or whatever the world over here. The Capitol building in Louisiana, at the time it was built, was the envy of all Capitol buildings in the United States. Did you know that, Maggie? When you was a little children, did you ever get a tour? Did y'all ever go to the Capitol building?
Yep.
Did you go to the top?
Yep.
All the way to the top?
Yep.
Okay, they told you it's the tallest Capitol building, and you know why, right? Because Huey Long, when they were building it, the state of California decided, oh yeah, watch this. So the Louisiana Capitol building, I forget how many stories it is, and California comes along and goes, we're going to go 2 stories taller, nanya boo-boo. Well, they're building the Louisiana Capitol building, and Huey Long goes, okay, or maybe it was Earl Long by then, what can we do? We can't let this happen. They came up with the idea, we'll just build a cupola on the top, basically an observation deck. So they added an observation deck, and bammo, it's the tallest Capitol in the U.S. Now, I didn't know this. Did you know that they're getting ready to surround that thing entirely with scaffolds and clean it? Because, it's not white anymore. It's alabaster white. All right, I'm going to go to the Dude Maker hotline quickly here. My next guest here is I guess I say former host, but maybe soon to be future host of Liberty in Lockdown, Martha Huckabee, who is on the line. Martha's the one that told me about the Capitol Cleaning and Restoration Project, and she can also be heard on the 990 WGSO AM airwaves from time to time. Martha, good morning.
Good morning, Mike Jerk. Good morning. It's good to be here.
That's great to have you. So, tell the story about how they're going to fix up the. And I still haven't seen this in the news, but somehow they're going to fix the Louisiana Capitol building up.
Yeah. Well, so I was in the task force committee hearing on Tuesday morning, and as I was walking out, I had a good friend of mine who's there almost every day come up to me and tell me that they're getting ready to clean up the Capitol, the state Capitol. And so that they're going to have scaffolding around it for the next 5 years as they clean it up, which it needs to be cleaned up. If you look at it, it's just filthy. It's so dark, it's almost gray.
It is gray. No, I make a lot of trips from western Louisiana, from Lake Charles, so I come that way on the way back to Madisonville on the I-10. And you round that after you go past the Tigerland gas station, right? You go 10 miles of nothing. There's nothing there. And then the I-10 kind of turns to the south and the southeast there. And when you make that turn, you could see that big, beautiful Capitol building way off in the distance, 12, 15 miles away. And as you get closer to it, as you're looking at it, you do start to notice that it's not white. At one point in time, apparently it was alabaster white. Now it's just kind of alabaster gray. What is it?
Yes, it's dirty. It's filthy dirty. And it's a beautiful, beautiful building. So it absolutely needs to be cleaned up. And it would actually be a great time to do that, considering where we are politically speaking. I think it would symbolize a lot of things happening. It would be good to have the outside cleaned up. We're trying to clean the inside up, so I'm all for it. I hope that this is actual factual news, because I haven't read it anywhere myself either. But the person that told me, she's there every single day, and she knows what's going on. So.
Well, I would also say that the timeline that you gave of 5 years, that's probably about right, because that thing is, 47 some odd, 46 stories? It's tall. You got to wonder what they do in there.
Exactly. That's a good question.
Well,
I would like to know what they do in there.
Okay, well, you actually do know some of what they do in there because you were just there. All right, so I wanted to have Martha on because our listeners are going to be fascinated by this. Talk about the Chinese Communist Party, their access to our electrical grids, and what you guys, you're on your panel, proposed to the Louisiana Senate to do about it.
So recently, this last legislative session, I chaired a committee where we put together a resolution, and it passed unanimously. I think it was like 93 yeas to 0 nays. And with that resolution being written, Senator Valerie Hodges is chairing up a task force commission to protect the grid, and also in that time frame, we're exposing or sharing with people some of the things that are happening here in the United States that many of us are unaware of. And one of those things is how the CCP has infiltrated the United States of America since the Cold War. You could actually find that task force link. I do believe that I put it on my Facebook page, so it is under Martha Henderson Huckabee. And so the interesting thing is that we all know that they send lots of money, lots of donations to the universities, and they have these groups that are sent there from China to invade America. And apparently they even have, some sleeper cells. They have, when the borders were open, they had Chinese people coming in through the south and the north borders illegally. And at some point in time, they plan on invading America. They have kill switches on light streets, on cameras. They have kill switches on batteries. They have kill switches on the grid. They have kill switches on everything that they put their hands on. Whatever they made that has a capability of it, they have kill switches on, and we are completely unaware of this.
But there's a way to protect from this, right? There's something that can be done. There's some paint that some dude invented that you can paint that like nukes or.
That's correct. That's correct. There are several engineers. They actually helped us to write the resolution, and there is a paint that we have that they invented to protect the grid. They did this probably 20, 25 years ago. This gentleman actually painted inside of the Oval Office, that dome, I think right before Trump became president the first term. And the Pentagon, he's been hired by the Pentagon on many different projects. So there is a way to protect the grid, but the government doesn't want us to. And this gentleman, his name is Wayne LeGrand. He also he was given a letter from the Pentagon, I believe under Obama's administration, that he is not to share his intellectual property with foreign companies, foreign entities, and nor is he allowed to even use it here in America. So it's a paint. It's a paint. That's all it is. You paint the grid, and it protects the grid.
So then you would assume then that there's some kind of Wi-Fi or microwave or radio wave that's beamed at whatever it is you want to disable or turn off, and then the paint especially basically just reflects it back. Almost like it's almost like on the Starship Enterprise, shields up.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it reflects it or if the paint actually has something inside of it to prevent them from frying the grids.
Okay, but now I wonder if it's not radio triggered, then if it's like directly triggered, then how would you stop that? I think the interesting thing about it, and the reason I wanted to talk to Martha about this, the interesting thing about it is that the Louisiana legislature actually had hearings on this, and they actually talked about, don't say it, yeah, I'm going to say it, the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. Now, we've been talking about this here on this show, like when President Trump said, well, I think we need, Harvard, they need, the Chinese need access to our university. I'm like, no, stop. He said it once, and he never said it again. He must have gotten an earful from Stephen Miller and other people must have, don't say that again. Don't ever say that. The Chinese here being in the U.S., and we only have a minute left, this is a real problem, Martha.
Big problem. It's a huge problem, much larger than everyone even realizes.
So nice to know that at least the Louisiana State Senate is is talking about it. At that point, I want to say that they've had in the last session that they had in Texas that they had hearings about it because the Republican dude that brought it up, they were calling him a conspiracy theorist, and that's all you got. This is not conspiracy here. The Chinese Communist Party is real. Martha, I am out of time, but we will have you back. Liberty and Lockdown, Martha Huckabee. Thank you. Great to have you on.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And we'll talk more about this, folks. Lots more to go here. 2 hours. Don't touch that proverbial dial. And watch out for the CCP.
I need something to listen to challenge my faith and tickle my not-so-nice funny bone.
Well, you won't hear anything about Mondays coming or cheeseburgers in paradise, but you will hear the most brutally honest Catholic-inspired commentary on Parrot Talk. Weekdays.
Oh, this Boats, Beaches, Bars, and Ballads fan sees what you did there.
Weekdays at 2 Central on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com. Live talking podcast radio.
The way it should be.
Have you ever dreamed of being like Brian Kay or Mitter Monday and being a free Farm Friday star? But you know you have no shot at it because you can't tell the difference between a U and a Y-O-U. Well, lucky for you, we have an entire bookstore filled with the books you need to become so passionate for farming, you'll soon be wearing a Brian Kay Calls Me for Advice t-shirt. So learn to grow by growing your library with books by shopping at shop.mikechurch.com.
For 9 years now, Brother Andre Marie's Reconquest has been your source for best in Catholic philosophy, history, and saints.
Well, I'm the new gal at this monastery, and Jiminy Christmas, after 4 years of auto pens, social media heresy, I could use some Catholic philosophy.
Well, call yourself a blessed girl, because new episodes debut Wednesdays at 8 Central, and there's over 475 podcasts available on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com. Live talk and educational radio.
The way it should be.
Hey, it's the King Dude with another free lesson in Stuff You Really Don't Need to Know. Harvest was Great Britain's name for the season that follows summer until autumn began to displace it at the end of the 16th century. But English immigrants to America preferred fall to autumn. And did you know that fall is caused by the sun setting below the equator in the northern hemisphere sky, also known as the equinox, which continues south to the winter solstice. Here's another seasonal fact for you. The flag of the Sacred Heart of Jesus is also known as the Carillon de Sacré-Cœur, or the original flag of Quebec. And did you know that our founder's Trading Post is the exclusive maker and distributor of this one-of-a-kind, full-size, beautiful flag? Order a Sacred Heart flag right now and take $5 off, and I'll throw in a matching Sacred Heart flag bumper sticker for free. You know, don't cost nothing. Hurry, fall is here, and flag flying season in the north is limited. To order, go to mikechurch.com/flag or call us at 844-527-8723. The Carillon de Sacré-Cœur flag will beautify any indoor or outdoor space it flies in, but supplies are limited. So order today at mikechurch.com/flag or call us 844-527-8723. The Crusade Channel and the slaves of the Immaculate Heart of Mary's Sisters present the Saint of the Day.
Hello, Crusaders. This is Sister Mary Joseph with your Saint of the Day. Today is October 23rd, the feast of Saint Anthony Mary Claret, who died in 1870. He was born in Catalonia in Spain. He was ordained a priest and became a missioner in his own country and in the Canary Islands, which are just off the northwest coast of Africa. He formed a group of priests into an order known as the Missionary Sons of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, also known as the Claretians. He was made Archbishop of Santiago in Cuba in 1851. He was recalled to Spain but then later exiled with his queen in the revolution there of 1868. Many attempts were made on his life, and he is the one saint so far canonized who was present at the First Vatican Council. Today is also the feast of St. Ignatius of Constantinople, who died in 877. He was the son of a Byzantine emperor. He was first a monk, then an abbot, and then a patriarch of Constantinople. During his time as a monk, Ignatius indeed underwent a most severe trial, being placed in a monastery which was governed by a furious iconoclast abbot, from whom he had daily much to suffer. But this very circumstance became to him a spur to watchfulness and a continual exercise of patience and other Christian virtues, by which he learned daily to die more perfectly to himself. For it is not the tranquility of monastic solitude, nor a distance from the busy scenes of the world, but the mastery over a man's domestic passions and the government of his own heart, which is the source of that peace of mind which invites the Holy Ghost into his soul. So St. Ignatius of Constantinople, St. Anthony Mary Claret, pray for us. Thank you for joining us for this brief summary of the lives of today's saints. Tomorrow is the feast of St. Raphael, the Archangel. To access all of our Saint of the Day recordings as podcasts, head to crusadechannel.com/saints. You can learn more about our sisters in the building of our convent by visiting stphilomenaconvent.org. I am Sister Mary Joseph, and until next time, may God bless and Mary keep you.
When most people hear the word coffee, they conjure up visions of a ceramic mug in the palm of both hands and a woman slowly sipping. This isn't a Folgers commercial. It's for Capuchin Holy Roast, and here's how I take mine. With a dash of vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Capuchin Holy Roast in whole bean or grind is available at shop.mychurch.com.
It's the I Love Lee Show, starring Lee, with special guest Jim.
Come on, dude, pick up.
Jim's Bait Shop.
Very boomer funny of you.
Yeah, I thought so too. What's up?
What was the name of the live talk radio thingy? You know, that show with the holy guy you were telling me about?
Talk radio, holy guy. I'm sure I have no idea.
Yeah, the guy's name rhymed with Lurch. He was talking about being holy or something.
Talking about... Oh, you mean Mike Church. He's not trying to be holy.
Yeah, he's also not trying to fake being holy. Anyway, I just came from the Lila Rose 2-for-1 podcast promotion, and I didn't make a dent in one, much less get two, and I need something cool to listen to on the 6-hour drive I have coming up.
Well, the KingDude's got you covered there.
So, you got the deets?
No, but my dad had shingles.
Oh, you're such a boomer! Deets, as in details, as in where and when do I find this guy?
I'm not a boomer, and his podcast is hiding in plain sight at this thing called a website at crusadechannel.com.
Why can't he just have a QR code?
Yeah. Want me to come over there and type that in for you, Zoomer?
The Crusade Channel 4.0, one of life's simple pleasures.
Yeah, like hearing a tree beginning its journey to the paper mill.
Like paper over plastic, some things like the Crusade Channel.
And good old-fashioned live talk radio.
Never go out of style at crusadechannel.com.
Speaking of out of style, Jim, we need to talk about your hair.
What's the matter with my hair?
The 80s hair metal band's called, and they want their style back.
Back in the 90s, there was this thing called the cigar boom, where everyone was buying and smoking handmade cigars. But here's the thing. The popular cigars then were the best-made cigars, like Fuente, Hoya de Monterrey, and Avo. Over the next 10 years, craftsmanship was replaced by gimmick and slick packaging, and that's when I decided to get in the business and launched El Rey Dude Corona cigars. 20 years later, I launched Mancipio Maria cigars, with that same principle in mind. Make a great handmade cigar, and that's exactly what we do in 4 sizes. I invite you to try a 4-pack sampler of my Mancipia Maria cigars and taste them for yourself in smooth, natural, or bold Maduro wrappers. And to sweeten the deal, I've discounted them 25% for a limited time. And as always, we include a personal humidifier with every order. To order, go to shop.mikechurch.com. Order $50 or more, and shipping is on me. Try my Mancipia Maria cigars today at shop.mikechurch.com.
Hey, Jim. Remember when we used to be like Joe Walsh?
I like it records, my fans, they can't wait.
Now we just talk about making hit records. Well, parody versions of hit records.
Join the KingDude and Jim Mosier as they pick apart the greatest parody songs of all time and the hits they were based on. It's Album Autopsy, exclusively on the Crusade channel. Live talk and podcast radio the way it should be, and doesn't disappoint your mother.
Brother Mike Church presents Flashback. Sinful things that were happening 20 years ago. Jurassic Park, the remake of Godzilla, and the beginning of Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Are either of you homosexuals?
You mean like flaming, or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
Let's hope and pray no one will ever confess those sins again. The Mike Church Show, preaching and teaching from his abbey while living here in the present on the Veritas Radio Network's Crusade.
There's a book in the Founders Trading Post store I want to tell you about. It's called Bear Wozniak's 12 Rules for Manliness. So I started reading it yesterday, and lo and behold, KingDude, why are you playing that uber left-hard lunatic Paula Cole? Bear Wozniak wrote the 12 Rules for Manliness after his wife came to him singing, Where is my John Wayne? Where is my prairie sun? Where is my happy? And he goes like, wait, whoa, what is that? And she goes, it's a Paula Cole song. It's called Where Have All the Cowboys Gone? And then Bear says, well, you must play this song for me. So he hears the song, and he gets inspired, and he starts making notes. And as things progress, fast forward 20 years, and he finally says, I need to write the book because the Cowboys are all gone. So it's a really cool book. We have 2 copies left. Bear Wozniak's 12 Rules for Manliness. Where Have All the Cowboys Gone? Snatch both of those copies up right now at shop.mikechurch.com. That's shop.mikechurch.com. And there are lots of other great books there. Don't forget the tailgate party. By the way, Maggie made some roasted chicken thighs, convection oven roasted chicken thighs last night that were made with Acadiana steak seasoning for an interesting flavor twist that I thought was outstanding. You know, folks, when you leave the salt out of your rubs, they are so versatile. You can use them on almost anything. So try the Chicken Mamu and the Acadiana while you're getting Bear Wozniak's 12 Rules for Manliness at shop.mikechurch.com. That's shop.mikechurch.com. Let's do some digital media files here today. I keep expecting any day now that John Fetterman is just going to throw his hands up and go, okay, screw it, then I'm just going to become a Republican. Or maybe he doesn't, maybe just going to, I'm just going to become an independent. I don't need you clowns. You people are stupid. When you have the man who has suffered like a debilitating stroke, I mean, I don't know if you remember, but when Fetterman was elected in 2020, as soon as he got to Mordor, the dude had a stroke. Sure did. I think before he was sworn in, he had a stroke.
Before he was sworn in, he had a stroke.
Major debilitating stroke. He was in the hospital. Schumer couldn't rely on him for a vote, and then they couldn't. There was nobody there to replace him, and Josh Shapiro was like, "No, I'm not replacing him, dude." I guess they were probably thinking he was going to die. And ultimately, I guess around April or so, 2021, Fetterman finally comes out of his coma or whatever, and he starts showing up at the Capitol in his sweatshirts and his sweatshirts and his shorts. McConnell tries to stop him, and he loses. And then, of course, Fetterman starts showing up for votes and stuff. But, a strange thing happened. And look, this is not a pronouncement that John Fetterman is some kind of a MAGA conservative, because he's not. The leftards in Pennsylvania thought they were electing Mondami. They thought they had the new Roosevelt. I'm talking FDR, not Teddy. Something strange has happened to John Fetterman, where maybe the stroke just rearranged his noggin, because he seems amenable to common sense.
I think he's like the old Democrat.
Yeah, Maggie's saying she thinks he's like the old Democrats. I tend to agree with that. But Fetterman is standing there looking at it going like, what is wrong with you people? He even said something to the effect, this is not the Democrat Party that I joined. Those are words that usually are followed by someone leaving a caucus or a party. Now, I only say this because I believe it looks to me as though the Democrats, as I said, have chosen. They've decided we are married to illegal, alien, criminal, trespassers, and trendy Aragua and other assorted cartel gangs. We are aligned with lesbians. Even though Black Lives Matter has been completely and totally discredited, and one of its founders is now in federal jail for fraud, they are all committed. Remember the two strumpets yesterday with Peppermint Zaki? This is not, we are not your friend there because we live in Oklahoma. We are Black Lives Matter, LGBTQIA++++ Oklahomans. Okay, so you're fake Oklahomans. This thing is crashing and burning. I don't know whether I believe the polls in Virginia or the polls in New Jersey or not. They seem to be consistent, showing that this Star-Spangled Burner woman is apparently going to beat Winsome Earl Sears in Virginia. I'm going to say this again about Virginia. Maybe Trump is successful in dismantling so much of the federal government that the cancer that has invaded your three northernmost counties, that's Loudoun, Alexandria, and it's not Henrico. What's the other one? It's right up there. Is it Prince William? Those three counties need to be sawed off onto their own little state, or you guys in the Old Dominion are cooked. Virginia is so crooked and so corrupt because of the influence of so many Virginians that work in Mordor. It's almost as though you want to say that, are those counties really Virginians? Well, the people that live there are really Virginians. Almost all of them are transplants. Anyone that lives in any of those three counties will tell you that this is where the McMansions are. So I know this because my brother's a mortgage broker, and I can tell you he's written a lot of these mortgages. These people are leftards or lazy-ass parasite teat sucklers that have moved to that area from all across the United States to do that. Teat suckle and become professional parasites. They'll put their 20 years of civil service in. Oh, I rolled my sleeves up and worked at least 3 days in that 20 years. And then while they're doing it, they vote themselves pay raises and power by voting for Democrats. This is not how the precious democracy is supposed to work. And the state of Virginia, as it has always been, seems to be the battleground. In 1861, after South Carolina seceded, we played that clip. We're going to play it for you at the bottom of the hour. Are you ready, Cuzzy? We're going to play the video version of it. Stonewall Jackson saying, "Citizens, soldiers, I'm here at the orders of General Robert E. Lee, commander of all Virginia forces." And then he said, "We would not allow the armies of other states to march into our state and tyrannize our people." You've allowed it. The Old Dominion, the northern most part of the Old Dominion is gone. It is completely and totally, they may as well, Washington, D.C. may as well annex it. It is completely and totally controlled by the enemy. The enemy of common sense, the enemy of Christianity, the enemy of patriotism, the enemy of practical thinking, the enemy of sanity. Which is why even when someone like Glenn Youngkin wins the governor's mansion, it only wins it by 16 votes. That's not the Old Dominion. That is not where George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe, and John Tyler, five of the first 7 presidents, came from. And it's a shame. It is an absolute shame. It was not supposed to turn out that. As a matter of fact, I bet you that people that don't live. Oh, it's Fairfax County. That's right. Thank you, Jonathan. The people that live outside of those areas have to wonder how it is that their state has gotten so screwed up. Why? And you know, again, think about the Old Dominion. That's what it was called. In 1791, when the Constitution goes into effect and little Jimmy Madison goes to Congress for the first time, the state of Virginia is comprised of. Maggie, can you find a U.S. map?
Is it a map?
That's not copyrighted. I know. I know.
Specific you're looking for?
Well. Just imagine, because we can't find maps anymore because Google says they're all copyright protected and won't even display them to you anymore. Yeah, you got to pay for them. We should just buy one and scan it and have it for ourselves. We have an atlas somewhere. Imagine the state of Virginia. Okay, so take Virginia, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee, and part of Ohio. That's Virginia in 1791.
Virginia in 1791.
Virginia in 1791, before Kentucky decides to become a state on its own and secedes basically from Virginia and has a convention, writes a constitution, submits it to Congress, asks for admission as a state, and they get admitted. Tennessee does the same thing. Further down the road, Ohio will be formed out of the Midwest Territory. The point that I'm making is that the state of Virginia was the most populous, largest state in the Union at the time of the Constitution going into effect. And as I said, 5 of the first 7 presidents are Virginians. That's a dynasty, or a dynasty, as people say. And that wasn't a coincidence. They were great, principled, honorable, genius men that were in that number, including Jefferson, Madison, and Monroe, and of course, Washington. And then most people forget John Tyler. John Tyler was a 13-year-old boy when Patrick Henry gave his Liberty or Death speech. And he was, in my movie, The Road to Independence, you know, the little kid that's peeking into, if you've watched The Road to Independence, the movie. And you'll get a lot of it next year during the bicentennial year, because we're going to re-release it. If you've seen that movie, the scene where Patrick Henry is giving the speech, notice that there's a boy that is on the shoulders of another boy that's peeking through the window. That's 13-year-old John Tyler, who was an actual eyewitness to the speech and would be influenced for the rest of his life by Virginia patriots like Patrick Henry. True story. So in any event, just to watch what's going on today in Virginia. There it is. Maggie kind of has a map in there. That's pretty good. Well, if you click on that and you look to the so it's a little out of scale, but you see where in the chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat, you see where the Mississippi River goes up. Well, they have it about 600 miles to the east of where it should be on this map. You see that? You see where Virginia ends, where North Carolina, South Carolina end, kind of at the Mississippi. Well, Virginia went all the way to the Mississippi. If you just draw a straight line across, then you go. That's how large the Virginia territory.
What is the Mississippi?
That's what I'm saying. I said whoever drew the map has it 600 miles to the east of where it should be. It should be to the left of that, if you're looking at the drawing. That's not where it should be. But then again, they couldn't possibly have known. I mean, look where New Mexico is. It's where Texas is. So play digital media file number 1. So this is, I didn't even know this woman existed until 2 days ago. I never heard of her. Some broad named Catherine Clark, who was supposed... Did Pelosi handpick these losers? Losers. She's going to spill the beans. The Democrat Party wants you to suffer so that they can make the point that your suffering empowers them. That they are the relief for people suffering. That's not why we have a constitution, and that's not why we have a federal government. Where's Jeff Johnson at when I need him? Main man, you know this. Suzanne Sherman, you know this. And I'm just kidding. I know that they're there. So play the digital media file number 1. Speaker Johnson left his office yesterday, put a television set on his door, and put this on loop.
American people first. I mean, the fact
but
that
none
you
of that on
won't...
the Democrat. I mean, again, and I understand the math in the Senate. I understand the healthcare position from the Democrats. No responsibility on the Democrats, or at least you don't think that the public will perceive that the Democrats are responsible.
I mean, shutdowns are terrible, and of course there will be, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously.
We take the responsibility of families suffering very seriously. So literally but that's an admission that they want to be the nanny state. I watched the tape. I saw the whole thing. The guy from Fox News didn't even have to drag it out of her. She couldn't wait to say it. We're going to make shutdowns and small government great again. This may be the greatest opportunity since Pearl Harbor. BK in Michigan, shut it down permanently. I know, secede. The longer it goes, the more things people are going to say, well, that's not open now because we don't. Like here, for example, I went to the Library of Congress today to get a document to shut some stupid, smarmy, snickety lib up who was crying into his weak Lipton tea over, look at the damage that Trump is doing. He didn't even get a planning commission like Obama did. An actual builder doesn't need a planning commission, sir. Needs a good architect and people that know what they're doing and how to construct things. There's a couple of towers that are 100 stories tall in downtown Manhattan that say that guy right there, Trump, knows a lot more about it than you and your little commission ever will. And maybe Obama needed a commission because he was stupid. Because he never built anything in his life. Trump doesn't need your stupid commission. And besides, he doesn't have to have one. Read the Constitution. Article 2, Section 1 and 2 puts him in charge of the executive branch. I'm pretty sure that also means the needful buildings. If Congress wants to try and pass an act to say that presidents have to get permission slips from some almighty federal overlord commission before they can hang a picture up in the East Wing, yeah, good luck with that. Not even Biden would sign that one. And so, what do you have?
J.D. Vance finally responds to...
Oh, you have...
It just happened, because he just landed.
Okay, so he's responded to Peppermint Zaki? Oh, I told you this was going to happen. We've been anticipating this. We'll be the first.
Secretary Jen Psaki made some comments suggesting that your wife, the second lady, needed to be saved from you. How do you feel about comments like that being
He's
made
smiling,
by
he's
your
laughing.
with the second lady?
Oh, I think it's disgraceful, but of course the second lady can speak for herself. And I'm very lucky to have a wonderful wife, and I know, or at least I hope that my wife feels the same about me. But we are very lucky to have this journey, or I should say, I'm very lucky to go on this journey with a very loving wife. We're going to keep on serving the country together, and I'm honored to have Usha by my side on this trip in particular, but always.
So that's the first he's heard of it.
Okay, so he didn't.
Because he was in Israel.
He's been in. That's right. He's been in Israel. You want to play Schmuckles Schumer? And I'm calling on the free press of this country. We got to get the deal done. You got to help us out here. If we're starving, we're losing it. Come on. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is snapping at my heels.
I would ask my colleague, one of the greatest blows to democracy when we don't have a fully free press, and has it been a hallmark of so many of the countries that he has mentioned that are autocracies or absolute dictatorships, to have no free press, so no information can come out? And doesn't that dramatically hurt the American people when government is shielded and can do whatever it wants and hurt as many people as it wants because you don't have a free press? Doesn't it really shouldn't it really frighten every American that this is a large step on the road away from democracy, towards tyranny, and towards authoritarian government?
What the hell is he talking about?
Has to believe that the media is in Trump's pocket.
He was. That's what. Did you know that? That almost all the legacy press fired themselves at the Pentagon?
In a world more and more infiltrated with fake news, AI-generated slop, hola, isn't it great knowing that Crusade Channel News is still researched, written, and performed by actual humans? Hey, what are you doing in here? Oh no! Get your hands off of me! You chipped my chip.
Boys, break it up! Jeez. Catch Crusade Channel News weekday mornings on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and podcast radio the way it should be.
No AI was harmed in the making of this radio content. We hope to next time.
The Crusade Channel and the slaves of the Immaculate Heart of Mary's Sisters present the Saint of the Day.
Hello, Crusaders. This is Sister Mary Joseph with your Saint of the Day. Today is October 23rd, the feast of Saint Anthony Mary Claret, who died in 1870. He was born in Catalonia in Spain. He was ordained a priest and became a missioner in his own country and in the Canary Islands, which are just off the northwest coast of Africa. He formed a group of priests into an order known as the Missionary Sons of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, also known as the Claretians. He was made Archbishop of Santiago in Cuba in 1851. He was recalled to Spain, but then later exiled with his queen in the revolution there of 1868. Many attempts were made on his life, and he is the one saint so far canonized who was present at the First Vatican Council. Today is also the feast of Saint Ignatius of Constantinople, who died in 877. He was the son of a Byzantine emperor. He was first a monk, then an abbot, and then a patriarch of Constantinople. During his time as a monk, Ignatius indeed underwent a most severe trial, being placed in a monastery which was governed by a furious iconoclast abbot, from whom he had daily much to suffer. But this very circumstance became to him a spur to watchfulness and a continual exercise of patience and other Christian virtues, by which he learned daily to die more perfectly to himself. For it is not the tranquility of monastic solitude, nor a distance from the busy scenes of the world, but the mastery over a man's domestic passions and the government of his own heart, which is the source of that peace of mind which invites the Holy Ghost into his soul. So Saint Ignatius of Constantinople, Saint Anthony Mary Claret, pray for us. Thank you for joining us for this brief summary of the lives of today's saints. Tomorrow is the feast of Saint Raphael, the Archangel. To access all of our Saint of the Day recordings as podcasts, head to crusadechannel.com/saints. You can learn more about our sisters in the building of our convent by visiting stphilomenaconvent.org. I am Sister Mary Joseph, and until next time, may God bless and Mary keep you.
Do you hear that, Maggie?
Do I hear what?
You don't hear the sound of bees buzzing about?
No, I see the result of that buzzing about and these beautiful new beeswax candles.
We sell candles now?
Not just any candles. These are handmade beeswax candles.
Well, that explains me imagining bees.
And they come in different sizes. There's a votive, a 3-day, and a 7-day size too.
Well, that should start a buzz in the store.
It better, or you'll get the buzz.
Order handmade beeswax candles today while supplies last at shop.mikechurch.com.
This is Capcom. We are ready to go for launch at the Crusade Channel launch site.
New show lineup.
Go.
Broadcasting live on X, YouTube, and Rumble.
We're go, Fly.
Breaking news updates.
Go.
The Mike Church Show Band.
We're go.
We're go for launch for the Crusade Channel 4.0 mothership.
2, 1. Lift off.
On August 4th, the Crusade Channel will launch Crusade Channel 4.0, the mothership. And you'll see why everyone else is lost in space.
Hey, it's the King Dude for My Pillow. Mike Lindell sent me my first set of My Pillows 14 years ago. I loved them then, and I still love that same set of original My Pillows today. True story. Now, that's a testament to the craftsmanship and quality of the My Pillow. But don't take my word for it. Go try it for yourself. Use my unique code and get huge discounts and free shipping on all orders by going to mypillow.com/KingDude. That's mypillow.com/KingDude.
The Mike Church Show, serving the hard liquor of truth to men who want to get drunk fast since 1992.
Men of the Valley, citizen soldiers, I am here at the order of General Robert E. Lee, commanding all Virginia forces. On April 15th of this year of our Lord, 1861, Simon Cameron, the Secretary of War of the United States, sent a telegram to our Governor, John Letcher, directing him to raise 3 regiments of infantry to be sent to assist in suppressing the Southern Confederacy. Governor Letcher's answer is well known to you, but perhaps not his words. His wire to Washington stated, "You have chosen to inaugurate civil war, and having done so, we will meet you in a spirit as determined as the Lincoln administration has exhibited toward the South." 2 days later, the Virginia legislature voted for secession. Just as we would not send any of our soldiers to march in other states and tyrannize other people, so will we never allow the armies of others to march into our state and tyrannize our people. Like many of you, indeed most of you, I've always been a Union man. It is not with joy or with a light heart that many of us have welcomed secession. Had our neighbors to the north practiced a less bellicose form of persuasion, perhaps this day might not have come, but that day has been thrust upon us like it was thrust upon our ancestors. The Lincoln administration required us to raise 3 regiments. Tell them we have done so.
Performing this show with 96.1% of my testosterone and intellect tied behind my back just to make it fair. An oasis, a destination, a hamburger drive-in joint, a dungeon, a drive-in diner or drive of toxic masculinity and common sense here on the Crusade channel here on a Thursday. Speaking of, tonight is going to be the greatest Thursday night throwdown in the history of Thursday night throwdowns. And there is no reason that all of you are not going to be in attendance. There's not a single person listening right now that has not and does not have a favorite burger joint and that standout, one-of-a-kind burger that you swear, when Uncle Bobo and Aunt Mamie or your brother-in-law come into town, we got to go to such and such to get the burger. I don't want to hear any, yeah, but I'm afraid. Oh, please cry me a river, KingDude. You are all going to show up. You are all going to participate in the chat room at 6 p.m. Central, 7 Eastern tonight. And 6 of you are going to show up in the Throwdown Arena. I should be having the Heisman Trophy stiff arm people away and take applications, qualifications. Tell me why you should be on our Great American Hamburger Throwdown panel tonight. As it stands, there are still 3 slots remaining. Who among you has the hamburger and bacon-coated stones to claim one of them? Are you afraid that your hamburger won't stand up?
I got mine.
Well, do I know the one that you're going with?
It's the one I make all the time.
Okay. No, okay, that's your throwdown burger.
I just put it in.
Maggie is already...
I'm prepared. I'm ready. I'm ready for tonight.
Oh, wait a minute. I haven't had that one. Mrs. O'Connell played. What is that?
I make mushroom Swiss burgers all
You
the
make
time.
them for you.
I
This is
just
true.
happen to make you regular American cheese or sharp cheddar cheese, just a classic bacon cheese. But my favorite is the mushroom Swiss.
Okay, the mushroom Swiss is anywhere you get it is amazing. There's a place near here, and I'll tell you all about it tonight. We have 2 actually. We have the Triple Nickel, and we have the Rusty Pelican. Rusty Pelican and my IMHO. And there's a secret to good burger, George. You know what? I wonder if the Rusty Pelican makes a smash burger.
I bet you, if you ask for one, they will.
And the reason that I X whether or not they make they make the smash burger is because one of my entries tonight, I'm going to shock you, is going to come from a franchised burger joint. And believe me, I don't. It's pretty amazing that we have, within driving distance of here, within like 10 minutes of here, there are 2. And they are just known for, I guess you would call them bougie burgers. Now, Guy Fieri made a reputation going around the country in drive-ins, diners, and dives. And finding some of these joints, one summer vacation, 15 years ago when the Chirins were actual Chirins, we went and searched. We actually planned our vacation and mapped the route out to go to locations of drive-ins, diners, and dives. 2 of the places that we went to were closed. We actually made it to one place, and then kind of the plans with the rest of the family got in the way, and we kind of abandoned it. But there is a the Rusty Pelican makes a burger. They make 2 that are outstanding. One has fried jalapenos on top, and the other one has fried pickles. And they're famous for the fried pickle version. That's it right there. That burger is, as a matter of fact, we might have to go to the Rusty Pelican for lunch today. I might have to go get me. We haven't had one in so long. We used to, oh my Lord, once a month it was a treat. Go to the Rusty Pelican to get a burger. So I want to hear all about your version of the Rusty Pelican. Tonight at 6 Central, 7 Eastern, right here on the Crusade channel. So, and there's still 3 seats for people who can sit in the room and co-host. So I wanted to give you an update on our fundraising for the last couple of days here. And I just saw the updated totals. So here is where we stand, and thanks to all of you that have stepped up to the plate. For the week of October 6th in St. Benedict Center Fund Broadcasting Fundraising, the goal hath been achieved. So a grand total of $2,673.80 out of the $2,500. Again, thank you so much. That's fantastic news. Now, the Crusade Radio Guild equipment upgrade is still languishing. Still languishing in the dark. Has not been completed. That's $1,000 short. So I'm going to grab the link for this actual donation, or this the actual page, if I can find it. This stupid company that makes this plugin keeps changing it, and every time they change it, they make it more difficult to actually find it. Wait, okay, there it is. I have the page. So I'm going to put the link to the page in. If we can knock this one out today, it is $1,050 short as of right now. And there it is. You can see the link right there. Thank you very much. And thanks to Paul Stencil. I see Paul's trying to get that donation to go through. The reason it keeps appearing is for some stupid reason. It doesn't want to complete. We'll get it taken care of, Paul. Rest assured. Let's do some more digital media files. And thanks to the Crusader Nation for all of your contributions to keeping the Crusade on air and that equipment upgrade. We knocked that out this morning. I'll order that joker today. I'll order it today. It'll be here Monday. All right. Digital media file number 4. I want to talk more about this construction because I'm interested in this kind of stuff, and I think that this is low-hanging fruit that is to me is the most stupid and ridiculous thing that you could oppose. Why would you stand in the way of someone making a magnanimous donation to your building, your public building, and saying that one of the upgrades this thing needs is an actual room where you can have meetings for the important people to come. Let's just pretend for a moment that it's not a government building. Let's just pretend for a moment that someone comes along to the Crusade Channel and goes, "Hey, I hear you guys are building this Walden and West studio in southwestern Louisiana. I would like to, you could call it whatever you want, but I would like to add a little addition, and I'm going to pay for the whole thing. I want to make sure you have a separate studio space to make cooking videos, and I'm going to put the money up for the whole thing." What am I going to do? Tell him no? I'm going to thank the donor profusely and go like, "Well, where do you need me to sign?" Do you see, these people that stand in opposition of this only stand in opposition, number one, because it's Trump, and number two, because they've never built anything in their lives and they can't comprehend, they can't perceive. There's so much that, first of all, that's creating a job. No, you're right, Maggie. They like to be miserable. But to throw this stuff up there, the American people need to know that this is a law, that there's a planning commission that oversees this. It's completely and totally at the behest of the president, whether or not he obeys them, or whether or not he listens to them. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. A planning commission that is subservient to someone that is in the White House that says, I think I want to redesign those wall coverings over there. What you got? You don't have to listen to them. You know, no one's going to argue that Trump can walk down the street and tell Congress, I saw your rule book, I don't like it, and I'm changing it. Does everyone understand this? The Constitution plainly says that the House and the Senate are going to be the judge of their own rules. Well, it pretty much says in Article 2 that the president is the supreme executive leader of the executive branch. And he is the leader of the executive branch, and he makes the decisions. As I keep saying, there is no department that has to exist outside of Secretary of State. Now, thanks to the 24th Amendment, there is no department that actually has to exist. You don't have to have an attorney general. You also don't have to have a building commission. If Trump needs a building commission, he can appoint it himself, and he can be the one guy that's on the commission. This is so stupid. So finally, somebody asked Josh Hawley about this, and he said this.
What about just uprooting this is an iconic building?
Mono, I will just say this. I made this point yesterday, that I hear all of a sudden from my liberal friends that they're very concerned about our history. Really, these are the same people who tore down every statue they could get their hands on in the last 4 years. Christopher Columbus, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt. They didn't have any concern for history then. Now all of a sudden, like, oh, the facade of the East Wing is iconic. Oh, give me a break. I mean, give me a break.
The beautiful facade of the East Wing. I've never even seen the East Wing. The magnificent facade of the East Wing is known throughout the world. No, it's not. By who? Who goes to the White House and goes like, oh boy, can I go to the East Wing? I want to take a picture of the outside of the East Wing. Most sane people want to take pictures of the front where the oval driveway is, or the back where the 6 columns are. I don't know anyone that wants to take pictures of the East Wing. But then again, I don't know stupid people, so that's not surprising that I know no one. I am not going to give, even though you put it on the cut sheet, I am not going to give Gavin Newsom airtime. I'm just not going to do it. Not going to do it. Wouldn't be prudent. This guy has never met. You know what this is? You know what this is? This is the gruesome Newsom for president campaign 3 years or 4 years too early. 3 years too early. This is what the Newsom for president campaign will sound and look like. It'll be, look at how great California is and look what Vance and Trump have done to destroy America. Can you imagine what that actually looks like in 3 years? By the way, play digital media file number 6. This is CNN's Suzanne Malveaux from January, it's sometime in spring 2010. And this is very interesting here. This is so obscure, I didn't even know that this happened. I don't remember it happening. And the reason I don't remember it happening because there were no Democrats around to complain about it. Watch.
Sounds like you're building another wing to the White House, but we appreciate you keeping your focus.
You can't even imagine, TJ. It's going to happen for the next 2 years. All of the banging, the jackhammering, the dust, the confusion, the noise of all places to do construction is happening right here, the front lawn of the White House.
Really?
It's a 4-year
This is an outrage!
project. Estimated cost, $376 million.
Gee, I wonder where they got $376 million. We're just laying around somewhere. Ooh, that's a great question. Ooh, you can hear the banging, the sound of the bulldozers, the destruction of the front lawn of the White House. Wasn't this an abomination and an outrage? He's destroying the White House like he destroyed America. Of course, in that instance, he actually did destroy. The only thing that stopped Barack Hussein Obama from destroying America, and I hate to say it, was Boehner. Boehner! Even the minority leader, Boehner! Boehner was the only thing, for all his flaws and for all his faults and for the fact that he was a rhino and he was in the uniparty and everything, he still told Obama no, often enough. Now, I'm not going to say that Boehner reversed it because he didn't. He slowed it down. You know, this is an interesting thing. You see Senator Rand Paul squawking on all the talk shows about this is illicit killing. These people deserve fair and speedy trials. This is against tradition. It's never happened before in the history of our country, and Trump needs to stop the killing on the high seas. Okay, Rand. Maybe you don't read your Twitter feed anymore, so I'll ask the question on air. Have you ever seen the film Captain Phillips?
Yes.
That's a different thing. No, it's not. No, it's not. Who owned the sailing vessel that Captain Phillips was the captain on? The Maersk Corporation. Maggie, look this up. I'm pretty sure that the Danish own Maersk. M-A-E-R-S-K. The Maersk. Because we have looked it up before. It's not an American company. I don't think it is. Where is Maersk?
It's a Danish.
I thought it was Danish. Okay. So the Maersk Corporation owned the ship that the American crew and cargo was on. Everyone clear on this? Captain Phillips was a Mainer. He was a guy from Maine. Tom Hanks played him in a movie. And it was a crew of what that boarded that ship? What was the name of the ship? I forget the name of the ship. And took it over. They were Somali pirates. They even called themselves. They rather fancied calling themselves pirates. We know this.
It was called the Maersk Alabama.
The Alabama, that's right, the Maersk Alabama. They were pirates. Where was the Maersk when it was boarded by Somali pirates? Was it off the coast of Norfolk? No. Was it in American international waters? No. Where was it? It was off the coast of Somalia. It was in international, maybe territorial waters of the Horn of Africa. What happened? The Somali pirates took Captain Phillips and a couple of other people off of the Maersk, Alabama, placed them on a life raft boat of sorts, and were holding them hostage for ransom. What happened to the three pirates? They do it in the movie. I even asked the question at the time, is that shot possible? And I actually had a Navy SEAL who I knew was a listener to the Mike Church way back in the day, a man who gave me his trident, who privately emailed me and said, Mike, I know the three shooters. That shot is totally doable. I could have taken it. Yes. And what did Obama do? Obama gave executive permission for what? The Navy SEALs on the deck of it wasn't a Kitty Hawk, I forget the ship, to take long-range sniper rifles, and they were instructed you had to wait till all three of the guys were visible at the same time. They did it in the movie, and Obama ordered them all assassinated, and they were all killed right there. Did you know? I actually looked this up. Did you know that Obama claimed that he had congressional permission and authority under previous acts of Congress, and that he didn't need to go to Congress or ask for anything else? There were pirates. They were endangering American goods on the high seas, and there was no possibility that they were going to be captured and brought to trial. And so he said, kill them, take them out. And they took them out. There is no material difference from what Rand Paul is squawking about taking these marauding Venezuelan drugs. I don't understand. You know, this is process. This is technicality over practicality. Susie Pinto's up next hour.
It's the WWE and the UFC for live talk radio Thursday Night Throwdown, hosted by you. Win a seat at the table, win the throwdown, and then you pick next week's topic.
Now that's real live talk radio exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Radio the way it should be.
Everybody loves a good trilogy. The Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and now the KingDude Seasoning Trilogy. There's Beast and Butt Rub, Acadiana Steak, and the brand new Chicken Mamu Seasoning, a lemon herb-based rub that's won trophies in barbecue chicken cook-offs. Now, we've bundled all 3 spices together, and you can get them for one low price for less than it costs to rent a movie trilogy. And the KingDude offers you his personal money-back guaranteed of your taste buds' complete satisfaction. Order a KingDude Seasoning Trilogy today at shop.mychurch.com.
Have you ever dreamed of being like Brian Kay or Mitter Monday and being a free Farm Friday star? But you know you have no shot at it because you can't tell the difference between a U and a Y-O-U. Well, lucky for you, we have an entire bookstore filled with the books you need to become so passionate for farming, you'll soon be wearing a Brian Kay Calls Me for Advice t-shirt. So learn to grow by growing your library with books by shopping at shop.mikechurch.com.
Broadcasting 50,000 kilowatts from atop the tallest radio tower on the planet. We are KRSD, the Crusade Channel, Madisonville.
Well, it's what our call letters would be.
Crusade Channel News. News you can trust. Because the truth can be trusted. From the Crusade Channel News Desk, here's Janet Huxley.
Hello, Crusaders. Welcome to Thursday, October 23rd, 2025. I'm Janet Huxley, reporting for the Crusade Channel News Desk, live from the Dothan Farm and Ranch, south of Kansas City, Missouri. Today's newscast is brought to you by Capuchin Holy Roast Coffee, a blend personally crafted by Mike Church, made from South American and Africa's finest gourmet coffee beans, and roasted to perfection. Available in whole bean or ground. Pick up a bag or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com. Here's what to listen for this hour. Day 22 with no end in sight for our government shutdown. Ted Cruz prediction about ballooning Obamacare subsidies now at center of shutdown fight. American missionary kidnapped in Niger by suspected Islamic militants. And D.C. woman sues to stop neighbor from smoking weed in his own home and wins. The government shutdown headed into its 22nd day with no end in sight after a 12th GOP attempt to reopen the government was stalled and then blocked by Senate Democrats on Wednesday afternoon. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and his caucus kneecapped, according to Fox, Republicans' bid to reopen the government for the 12th time in a 54-46 vote where Republicans needed at least 60 votes to advance the measure. Over a decade ago, Republican Senator Ted Cruz predicted that healthcare premiums would skyrocket, even in the face of subsidies put into effect under Obamacare that were meant to bring them down. Well, today, the ballooning of those premiums and their accompanying subsidies are at the center of the 22-day shutdown that looks like it may get longer still. Despite Obamacare subsidies, many Americans will still be paying higher premiums in 2024 as a result of Obamacare, Cruz had said in 2013, referring to the Affordable Care Act. The U.S. government reports it is aware of the kidnapping of an American Christian missionary in the West African nation of Niger. Sources told Fox News they suspect that the missionary has been taken north to Islamic State-controlled areas where an offshoot of ISIS operates. It is a top priority for the Trump administration to look after the safety of every American, and we are seeing efforts from across the U.S. government to support the recovery and safe return of this U.S. citizen. Following the kidnapping, the U.S. Embassy in Niger said it now requires all personnel to travel only in armored vehicles and announced that all restaurants and open-air markets are off limits. Our quote of the day: from humility of heart proceeds serenity of mind, gentleness of conduct, interior peace in every good. St. Paul of the Cross. And coming up, our saint of the day, You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
When most people hear the word coffee, they conjure up visions of a ceramic mug in the palm of both hands and a woman slowly sipping. This isn't a Folgers commercial. It's for Capuchin Holy Roast, and here's how I take mine. With a dash of vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Cappuccino Holy Roast in whole bean or grind is available at shop.mychurch.com. Hey, Lee, you know, we've known each other for a bit now. I just wonder, what do you really love to do?
I love posting civilization-saving threads on X.com, but I get so tired of outrage porn scrolling my medulla has gone oblong blanca.
Well, I know just the thing. Pour an iced Capuchin Holy Roast coffee, put your earbuds in, and catch 2 hours of suspense, the greatest of all mystery, horror, and whodunit classic radio serials.
Perfect. While you were talking, I completely forgot who Jack Posobiec was.
Catch all 900-plus episodes of Suspense every weekday from noon to 2 p.m. East on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on CrusadeChannel.com. Live talk and classic radio.
The way it should be.
Our saint of the day is St. John of Capistrano. John of Capistrano was born in 1386, when 1/3 of the population and nearly 40% of the clergy were wiped out by the bubonic plague. The Western Schism split the church with 2 or 3 claimants to the Holy See at one time. England and France were at war. The city-states of Italy.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Testing your speakers on StreamYard.
Okay, sounds good.
Observance of the rule of St. Francis. Through John's tireless efforts and his expertise in law, the heretical Fraticelli were suppressed and the spirituals were freed from interference in their stricter observance. When the Turks captured Constantinople in 453, John was commissioned to preach a crusade for the defense of Europe. He led an army to Belgrade, and under the great General John Hunyadi, they gained an overwhelming victory, and the siege of Belgrade was lifted. But he was worn out by his superhuman efforts and easy prey to an infection after the battle. Capistrano died on October 23rd, 1456. An elderly woman just scored a landmark court win against her neighbor that forces him to stop smoking weed in his own home. 76-year-old Josefa Ippolito Shepard of Washington, D.C., said the smell emanating from the 73-year-old next-door resident's doorway made her dread coming home. She said she even vomited when her neighbor, who lives on the ground level of an adjoining home, lit up, so she sued. She said she wasn't interested in the money, just in getting fresh air in her home, and she won, according to the Washington Post. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Channel, seeking news and finding truth.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Silk Feather. Ma'am, what would you like to drink?
Oh, I'll take the Dom. The Dom Perignon, of course.
Ah, the lady has taste. And you, sir? I'll just take the Diet Coke. Oh, dear. You know, what I miss about the good old days before social media and AI ruined everything?
Let me guess. No fat people outside of the circus. And Ozempic was the name of the demon in C.S. Lewis story, right?
Well, yeah. But besides that, classic radio shows with actors and actual stories.
Well, lucky for the human race, the Crusade Channel is rolling over 900 episodes of a show called Suspense.
Tweak your mystery-solving muscles over lunch and catch episodes of Suspense, weekdays noon till 2 on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and classic radio the way it should be.
I like my version of suspense. Hey!
Doesn't work without me.
Coming aboard the freight train of truth. is leaving MAGA KingDude station here on the Crusade Channel Live. Talk radio the way it should be, a crusade for the truth. American talk radio made by Americans for American ears, not AI. The world's largest AI-free zone. That's what we call it here. Call-in line telephone number is 844-527-8723, 8445-CRUSADE. This portion of the program brought to you by my friends at the 2awatchcompany.com. That's the number 2, the letter A, watchcompany.com. Get you a Liberty-themed, Second Amendment-themed watch today with a beautiful Swiss or Japanese time movement at 2awatchcompany.com. Use the coupon code CHURCH at checkout today. 15% off. That's 5 to the 5 to the 5. 15% off of your beautiful timepiece. I was wearing my POTUS 4547 the other day and was getting rave reviews on it. Where did you get that? That's on 2awatchcompany.com. All right. Crusader Stadium chat room is open at crusadechannel.com/chat. Quickly, just a quick reset. So the crowdfunding, the link is in the chat room to get the equipment number for that fundraising over the magic number or the good number, 3,500. Thus far today we have
0.0
acres, but I know that's going to change. Somebody's out there. I know you're out there. The link is in the Crusader Stadium chat room, or go to crusadechannel.com/donate. I want to go to the StreamYard Maker hotline here and talk to Susie Pinto of the News Nation. And there's a new video that just came out a couple days ago on her video channel called One Nation, News Nation channel, One Nation Under God, called Inside Nigeria's War on Christians. You know, we have been covering this here on the channel for years, since there have been Christians in Nigeria, basically. We're going all the way back to 2016 when we talked to Dr. Philip Nnaji, who is one of the leading crusaders out there. He's a Catholic, and he was on with Michael Hitchborn, and we heard about all the horrid things that are being done in Nigeria. They continue to this day. And I want to welcome Susie. Thank you for joining us. How are you?
Thank you for having me, Mike. I'm doing well.
So a quick little bio on Susie. Susie used to work at EWTN and then at the Vatican News Agency, and now at News Nation. So you're young in your career. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. I was lucky enough to be able to work at the Holy See press office some years ago. So I do have some experience in covering religion and religious issues. But, here at News Nation, we're really dedicated to, first of all, unbiased news and covering stories that the media has ignored and dismissed. And we saw a lot of chat online about the situation of Christians in Nigeria. So we decided that we wanted to talk to somebody on the ground and just go in and investigate and hear what was going on firsthand. Mike, you might have heard even Bill Maher calling attention to the slaughter of Christians in Nigeria. And, he pointed out that he's not even a Christian, but the media has ignored this issue that Christians are being killed and have been. And actually, Bill Maher called it a genocide. So we wanted to talk to somebody on the ground. So we went through a faith-based group, Open Doors, who connected us with an amazing human rights lawyer, Jabez Musa, who is doing who is defending Christian women and girls in Nigeria. And he described the situation as dire. He said that Christians are afraid for their life and that the violence against them that's being committed by mostly Islamic militants is affecting, every aspect of their life. He really described a situation that is so sad, and he's calling on the United States to help.
No, I watched your interview, Susie, and one of the things that I was blown away by, first of all, You got to, geographically speaking, for people that don't know, Nigeria sits on the coast, on the western coast of Africa, just below where it goes here. And if you draw a straight line across, it's where the great coffee plantations are in South America, fertile and rich. There's no problem with any resources in Nigeria. And Susie, thanks to your interview, I didn't know when you asked Jabez about Nigeria and he gave you the rundown. I'm going like, 227 million people live in Nigeria. Before you asked him that question, did you know that?
I did not know that. No, I'm not an expert in Nigeria. And, that's part of the reason. That's why we wanted to contact, we wanted direct contact with someone on the ground, because Americans don't hear a lot about Nigeria in the media. We don't know what their situation is. We don't even know, he gave a great snapshot of Nigeria as being, he called it the engine of West Africa. Obviously, it's the most populous country in Africa and one of the world's biggest oil producers.
Sure is.
So he did a great job of describing why it's so important, why Nigeria, the impact that Nigeria has, first of all, on West Africa, but also on all of Africa and the world, and that this country that is such a an emerging economy, a leader in so many ways, how they are failing when it comes to human rights and to protecting vulnerable populations, including Christians. So, I think it is very interesting. And, the media we don't really hear much about Africa in the Western media. And, that should change. I think we need to open up and, of course, the world is a very interconnected place nowadays, and it's a smaller world. And the media needs to do a better job of covering these kind of stories.
Well, I would tell you, think about, you did hear a little bit about Nigeria thanks to USAID and all the skimming that was going on. Watch the movie Poverty Inc. and you'll learn all about it. But here's the thing in your interview that I was struck by, and I counted. I took notes. I was struck by 3 times you asked Jabez Musa. You asked him, well, what can we do to help? What can we do to help? What can we do to help? 3 times. What was his first answer? Pray. He said pray 3 times, and I'm going like, okay, this is a real Nigerian, real citizen. And then he said pray 3 times, and I'm sure that I could see the expression on your face when you asked him. So just tell the audience, when you asked him, are Christians afraid to the point where they're not worshiping in public? He said
that that has not affected the faith of Nigerians.
Right.
Said that it's made their faith stronger, which was such an impressive answer. And no, they don't stay home. They risk their lives to go to church, to worship, and even though their churches, he described churches that are bombed out, that are burned, that are destroyed. But no, it doesn't make them not practice their faith. And he said that this persecution, this violence has only made their faith stronger.
And the other thing that he said in the interview, and you find the interview on YouTube on Susie's One Nation Under God under News Nation right there on YouTube. The other thing that I was struck by is, and people need to know this, Susie, the government of Nigeria could kick these people out. Government of Nigeria is basically refusing to act. They're like, oh, see no evil, hear no. They're basically doing nothing about this when, in fact, and they have been implored. The international community has implored them. And again, Yusa he basically said, when you asked him what President Trump could do, I thought his answer was instructive. What did he tell you?
He said that he would like the United States to put Nigeria on the list of a country of particular concern, basically countries that the U.S. State Department designates as violating human rights and, in this case, religious freedom. And he wants that Nigeria to be put back on that list. Nigeria was on that list in the first Trump administration. During the Biden administration, it was taken off that list. So Jabez Musa is urging President Trump to put Nigeria back on that list, which will help apply pressure to the Nigerian government. And so basically, which is so interesting right now, it is up for debate in the Congress. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas has proposed a bill that would hold Nigerian officials responsible for the violence, for what he calls Christian massacres. And so right now, Senator Ted Cruz is promoting that bill and urging his fellow senators to bring it to vote and to make sure that there is some accountability for Nigerian officials, because they are not intervening. They are not, what Jabez told me is that when these attacks happen, mostly in the north, now they're starting to happen in the central region of Nigeria. But basically, they call, the army, they call the authorities, and they are slow to react. And sometimes they don't come. They're inefficient. They're not really reacting. So what Senator Ted Cruz and other members of Congress are asking is for Nigerian officials to protect these vulnerable populations and, otherwise face consequences.
Susie Pinto of News Nation and One Nation Under God YouTube show, and I guess you have a podcast element as well.
Yes, yeah. So One Nation Under God is a podcast that we do on News Nation. You can find One Nation Under God on the News Nation YouTube channel. And basically what we do is we cover stories of faith. We'd like to, a lot of times the media has ignored stories of faith or not taken faith seriously, but we do. And we tell the stories of all faiths of Americans. So I would encourage all of your viewers to check us out, check out News Nation, check out our YouTube channel. And we are doing great things in the media space. So please check us out.
3.4 million people have. So let's continue. I have some more questions. Okay. American liberals were all interested in this, Oprah Winfrey and the like, when Boko Haram kidnapped those poor girls and held them hostage and killed a bunch of them. Now, in your conversation with Jabez, you asked him about Boko Haram, or he actually brought up Boko Haram. Yes. And apparently, I didn't know this, Susie, apparently Boko Haram still has hostages.
Yes, I thought that was so interesting because, of course, yes, as you said, there was a ton of media attention. That was in 2014. 276 schoolgirls were taken captive. Now, Jabez updated me and said that over 80 are still in captivity, and we haven't heard about them. That story has been sort of dropped. The media dropped that story. But Jabez reminded me that over 80 are still in captivity. And, he said that Boko Haram still has a very strong hold on the northeastern region of Nigeria. So, yeah, that's a story that those poor girls are still in captivity. And all these years later, we don't know what their fate is.
Well, and let me fast forward to today. So I looked this up for our interview. September the 19th of this year, Father Matthew Iya was killed in what appeared to be a targeted assassination in Nigeria. An abducted priest was killed in March 2025. Father Sylvester Okechukwu was abducted by Muslim extremists in the Kaduna State, and his body was found the next day. So we all know, we've covered these stories here. The National Catholic Register has been on top of this. There have been, the Epic Times has been, if you're looking for news coverage, News Nation, you guys have covered this. Christmas 2024, Fulani militants attacked a Catholic church in Yelawada, the Benue State over Christmas. Although the cops initially kind of beat them back, the militants killed over 270 people in the undefended town center. So this stuff is ongoing here. And, you were talking to Jabez Musa. I also found it very interesting, and I really felt for the guy. I'm like, hey, man, can I buy you a cup of coffee? Because you had to, pixelate him out for safety reasons. I mean, this guy is literally putting his life on the line just to try and get the word out about what is happening to Christians in Nigeria.
I know, that was so impressive, wasn't it? I mean, this is a very serious matter. This is a matter of life and death for Christians in Nigeria. And our team was really that really impressed us because we couldn't show his face. Of course, we had to be very careful. I'm not in direct contact with Jabez because that also would endanger his life. So I was lucky to find, a great faith-based group that's doing so much good in terms of humanitarian aid in Africa, Open Doors International. And they put me in touch with him. And he was such an articulate, clearly he is, such an amazing professional. He's worked in this space for 2 decades. He described the situation so well, so articulately. And yes, he put his life on the line to talk to us, but that's how important it is to him. That's how important it is to the Christians of Nigeria. He needs the help of the United States. He needs the help of this administration. So we're hoping that this interview, that members of Congress will see it, that, I sent it to Senator Ted Cruz. I know he's been working on this issue diligently. So this is just more information, up-to-date information. Jabez in that interview mentioned that just last week, 10 Christians were killed. So as you say, these attacks are ongoing, and it's time. And as Jabez put it, he said the Western media is waking up. Now how we have to see as part of the media, I hold myself accountable. That's why I did this interview. I said to my team, and they were very supportive, that we have let's talk to somebody in Nigeria, let's find out what's going on. It's been several years since it's been sort of in the mainstream headlines. And what we learned was just really such a terrible situation. And I really urge members of Congress to act.
Well, and I concur with you on that. And the program is CPC, right? Concern Protected.
CPC, country of particular concern.
It's one of the international things that we do that doesn't cost us a lot of foreign aid money, but you use the kind of the negotiating power of the United States to say, hey, man, you want to have trade with us? You need to stop that. I'd be surprised. Really, seriously, Susie, I would be very surprised if President Trump learned about this if he didn't say something. As a matter of fact, I'd be shocked if he didn't say something. I'm going to go back to a part of your interview. Susie Pinto, News Nation, is with us, and the podcast is One Nation Under God, talking about the Nigerians who are Christian Nigerians who are under attack. And this is non-denominational, folks. Doesn't matter if you're Catholic. They don't. These people, the Islamic militants that are practicing Sharia law, do not draw a distinction between what church it is you go to, whether it's a Catholic one or whether it's a Protestant or evangelical. They don't care. You say Jesus Christ is Lord, you're on the list here. So, one part about the interview. You asked Jabez, you asked him about what role Sharia law plays in the violence against Christians. Now, there's a guy running for mayor in New York City here, and I don't want to confuse the issues here, but he is an advocate of Sharia law. They're wrestling with Sharia law in London right now, and Sharia law is finding its way into the Western world. Well, if you want to see what happens when it actually finds its way in, look at Nigeria.
Yeah, what Jabez said is that obviously Sharia law facilitates this kind of violence and this kind of discrimination against Christians. He said that Sharia law was put into place in 1999, and the violence against Christians has taken place pretty much since then. So for over 2 decades now. So he did blame Sharia law, and he said that, of course, in the northern region of Nigeria is the Muslim region. Of course, Nigeria is about 50-50 Muslim and Christian.
Right.
The northern region is more Muslim, and the southern part of the country is more Christian. So in the north is where these clashes happen and where this violence takes place against Christians and moderate Muslims as well. I want to point that out, that, Islamic militants also target moderate Muslims, and Muslims also are dying. So we care about all of them, and this really deserves attention. Another very interesting thing I just want to go back to, Mike, is that he pointed out that if our audience will recall that a lot of Islamic militants, ISIS, were eradicated from Iraq, from northern Iraq, and from the Middle East in 2017, 2018. And Jabez made the very interesting point that they basically came to West Africa and sort of their operations, they sort of changed their operations to Africa and West Africa. And so groups like Boko Haram and even ISIS are thriving there. So and that's, of course, we don't hear as much about that, but they did regroup, reorganize, and they are still carrying out that violence.
Well, and the point that you made about moderate Muslims, folks, everything you need to know about this, again, it's a great book that I always recommend to the audience, Susie. It's by Bat Yor. It's The Fall of the Rise of Islam under Eastern Christianity. Read the chapter about the imitude. You don't have to be a Christian to fall under the imitude. And if you get the Sharia laws, they're going to say, well, either you're with us or you're against us. So, you're absolutely right to point that out, that there are Muslims that also don't kind of rise to the Sharia law threshold, if you will. But we just have a couple minutes left. So you asked him, a final question for you, Susie, and thank you so much for your time. I'm flattered that you actually agreed to do this. So thank you. We're honored to have you.
Welcome.
You asked him, what is your prayer to God? What is your prayer to God? What did Jabez tell you when you asked him what his prayer to God was?
It was really beautiful. It was very, very genuine. He prays to God that every Nigerian, Christian or Muslim, can be safe and can have a safe existence in his land. And, Mike, what a simple simple prayer that, Americans, we take for granted every single day, that we have safety, that we can go to our places of worship, that we can express ourselves, that we have freedom of speech. We have to be so grateful. And I think, I think his prayer, the simplicity of it, and that, in Nigeria, every single day, to practice your faith, to be who you are, to be a member of your community, you risk your life.
And it was so refreshing too, Susie. He didn't ask for any money. He didn't say send money in bags of rice. He said send prayers. So I encourage all of you, find Susie's YouTube podcast on the News Nation site, One Nation Under God. And the title of this one is Inside Nigeria's War on Christians. Susie, I hope you'll come back. And thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure.
My pleasure. Folks, we have to take a time out. We'll see you soon. God bless. Okay. That's Susie Pinto of News Nation. And, folks, we are going to head to a timeout here. And when we come back, we have one final segment left to go here on the Crusade Channel and the Mike Church Show. Again, that donation link is crusadechannel.com/donate.
For 9 years now, Brother Andre Marie's Reconquest has been your source for best in Catholic philosophy, history, and saints.
Well, I'm the new gal at this monastery, and Jiminy Christmas, after 4 years of auto pens, social media heresy, I could use some Catholic philosophy.
Well, call yourself a blessed girl, because new episodes debut Wednesdays at 8 Central, and there's over 475 podcasts available on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com. Live talk and educational radio.
The way it should be.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Channel News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Thursday, October 23rd, 2025. This report is brought to you by Capuchin Holy Roast Coffee, a blend personally crafted by Mike Church, made from South American and Africa's finest gourmet coffee beans, and roasted to perfection. Available in whole bean or ground. Pick up a bag or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com. In the market report, the Dow was down 0.71%, the S&P dropped 0.53%, NASDAQ was down 0.93%. In National Day calendar news, today is Swallows Depart from San Juan Capistrano Day. For generations, the return of the swallows to the historic Mission San Juan Capistrano in California has been a celebrated event. According to legend, the tradition began in the 1700s when a local innkeeper destroyed the swallows' mud nests. Seeing the homeless birds, a compassionate priest at the mission, Father St. John O'Sullivan, welcomed them, saying, "Come on, swallows, I'll give you shelter." Today is National Mole Day. It's also National TV Talk Show Day and iPod Day and Boston Cream Pie Day. Our quote of the day, "From humility of heart proceeds serenity of mind, gentleness of conduct, interior peace, and every good." St. Paul of the Cross. And our saint of the day is St. John of Capistrano. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
This is a Pixel.
I'm Groot.
Now, if you put a couple of million of these guys together, you can make a sentence on an LED screen. Put a couple of billion of them together, and you can make a whole page. Put 360 billion of them, and you got Chesterton's book, Orthodoxy. But it doesn't smell like a book, and it burns teeny little holes in your cornea. So is the pixel really your friend? I'm Groot. No, but the Founders Trading Post is your friend, and we have actual books with actual smelly pages. Plus, our little bookstore has everything you'd expect. I'm Groot. Yes, Groot, to the gourmet coffee, but no to the One Tree Hill sappy guitar music.
Pick up a copy of G.K. Chesterton's Orthodoxy, plus many other Chesterton titles at shop.mychurch.com.
Hal, open the pod bay doors.
I'm sorry, I can't do that, KingDude.
Hal, why can't you open the pod bay doors?
Because, KingDude, MAGA Earth isn't ready for you yet.
When will MAGA Earth be ready for me, Hal?
When 1.76 trillion scales have fallen from their eyes. Oh.
Yes, Hal.
And KingDude, they'll also need a wicked sense of humor.
Don't be stuck in the broadcasting world of 2001. Grab a Crusade-size update and catch the Mike Church shows weekdays from 7 to 10 a.m. East, exclusively on the Crusade Channel Live Talk and Podcast Radio for the 2025 listener, the way it should be.
In the era of the Biden regime, the Mike Church Show lives by the creed, if at first you don't succeed, try again. And if that doesn't work, move to Grenada.
Drive a million miles to be with you tonight. So if you're feeling love.
Finally, the U.S. Department of Transportation has put an outright ban on commercial driver's license for non-U.S. residents. Folks, you have to do this. How many more people got to die on America's highways from radical nutbag Sikhs who don't obey the law, do drugs, don't obey traffic laws, and kill people? And if you're just joining us, 3 people were killed on Interstate 10 right outside of Ontario, California, which is right outside of L.A. yesterday, in a horrific car crash that the dashboard camera of this 18-wheeler captured in all too clear HD video, and you cannot imagine the horror. I cannot imagine the horror of what happened in that car that he hit at 50 miles an hour that was standing still. And he reduced a 25-foot-long SUV to 8 feet long. And everyone inside killed instantly. Then he runs off to the side of the road and hits another car and injures 2 other cars. And then a guy who was actually working on his truck on the side of the road hits him. And before it finally comes to, there it is, they're playing a video on Fox News. He hits this guy right here. You see this guy, almost runs this dude over here. Dude is an illegal alien criminal trespasser. He snuck in 2022 under the Biden regime, was invited in by Peppermint Zaki and Greta Jean-Pierre, the Democrat Party, and Biden. He was checked in at the border, tagged, released, and led into California. Gavin Newsom gave him a commercial driver's license, and now 3 people are dead. I wonder, outside of our media and people like us in media, I wonder if that story is being broadcast. The CBS Evening News have a story on it. Does NBC News have a story on it? Does ABC News have a story on it? Or do you have to be on X.com? Because that's where I saw it almost as soon as it happened. Within a half an hour, the video had already made its way to X and was then verified basically by, the most unlikely of people or agencies verified the video and then said they had custody of the perp. That entity was called, wait a minute, starts with an I. Oh, come on now. They're evil, they're bad, they kill, they hate Americans. Ends with an E. ICE, ICE, baby. ICE has him under detention. ICE, within a half an hour, verified where he was checked in by the Biden regime. Verified that California gave him a commercial driver's license. Here are my questions, and I asked these in the first hour, so I'm just going to repeat them. Here's my questions. By the way, folks, crusadechannel.com/chat in the chat room. You'll see the link for the equipment fundraiser. Thanks to Joe Beeman for helping us to avoid a shutout today. Thank you, Joe. Since almost nothing that I say gets remembered by anyone, I have to say it like 100 times a day to try and drive the point home. You all will be in attendance tonight at Thursday Night Throwdown, 7 Eastern, 6 Central, right here on the Crusade Channel. You don't have to go looking for it. There is a video component as well, which we will broadcast on the site. Anyone can watch or listen. Your Uncle Bobo, your Aunt Mamie, whoever wants to watch on YouTube. It's free of charge. We broadcast the whole thing. Tonight is the Thursday Night Throwdown of Thursday Night Throwdowns. It is the one where we will do the Great American Hamburger Throwdown. Everyone should have an answer. Everyone has a burger in the fight. Everyone should have fun and show up and be ready to burger down, baby. That's tonight at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, right here on the Crusade Channel. I have... Is this on? Hello? Checking. Is this thing on? They let us know if we're off the air. They don't ever respond to anything that I ask for.
Well, they're talking about the car crash, so...
Well, no, I know that. I just want to make sure that it's on. Okay, because I was asking for volunteers, for people to show up tonight to be on the burger throwdown.
You asked for volunteers. That's the problem.
Oh, so I should have just voluntold somebody, is what you're saying?
You have to voluntold people.
I don't know who I could voluntold. I'm running out of people to voluntold. Who can I voluntold? I've already voluntold everyone. The three that are going to show up have already been voluntold. All right, we'll have to work the signal group that seems to contract every day.
It's bad.
Diana Meeker, thank you. The segment Grigri has been broken. Okay. The ICE has him in custody. It's ICE that verified the identity of the perp who killed the people on I-10. It's ICE also, we'll get more details on it and we'll talk about it. Let's talk about this, Maggie. The Democrat Party is now wed itself to the illegal alien criminal trespasser, to the gang members, and to the cartels, and to a wake of dead bodies. They have wed themselves to this. And this is this is where the Democrats stand. Illegal aliens, criminal trespassers, gay people, and dead people. So I just wanted to point out that pursuant to that, and thank you to Craig Pelton. Wahoo! $50 now, getting closer. Thank you, Craig. I just wanted to point out that, okay, we have the story and we have a soundbite to go along with it. DHS announces Dem plan for master ICE tracker. Warns there will be consequences. What is wrong with these people? The Trump administration announced yesterday, digital media file number 19, Maggie, announced a Democrat plan to create a master ICE tracker in California, warning that there will be consequences for those who obstruct federal law enforcement. During a press conference Monday in L.A., Mayor Kami Karen Bass and Representative Robert Garcia announced plans to launch a website tracking immigration and customs enforcement activity across the L.A. area. You know, ladies and gentlemen, immigration customs enforcement. Heretofore, in the history of my adult life, I do not have any knowledge or recollection of any opposition to the existence of ICE. I've traveled 4 times to foreign lands, 4 times, thrice to England, once to France. All 4 times I had to come back through U.S. Customs, which is run by ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement. There may be another agency that kind of does it at the airports, but you basically go through Customs. I never complained about it. I completely understood why I was doing it. 3 times and twice in New Jersey, once in Atlanta, and then once in New Orleans. The lines are awful in all of them. That's the one thing I complained about was, can we have more ICE agents? Is basically what I said. I never complained. I never whined about it. I simply understood and I acknowledged that we have a nation, or we have a union of states, and we have borders. I left the borders and went to England. You know, I also had to go through customs and enforcement in England and at de Gaulle in France. I told you the story about my experience with German customs on my way to France or on my way to England. When Maggie and I were going to England, we flew Thomas Cook Airlines into Berlin, and I got accosted at the airport where going through German customs. Remember, I told you the story the other day. They made me take the equipment out of the bag and use it. I never said you don't have the authority. I never said there needs to be an app so we can track where the customs people are. If you're going to have this thing called a country or a union of states or a union of countries, you're going to have borders. You're going to have citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an assault on citizenship at the end of the day. You are making my citizenship in Louisiana worth less. You are saying it doesn't matter and that anyone from anywhere else in the world is entitled to a share of it. I don't believe that. I don't believe that's why we have a Constitution. I don't believe that's why we have a Union of States. I don't believe that's why we have a Congress. I don't believe that's why we have one nation under God. And as I have said, and I'll say it again to anyone that will listen to me, pull the drawbridge up. Last one over is a rotten egg. We can go 40 years without immigrants. 2 generations, 40 years without immigrants. And we won't miss them. Who's going to clean it? Who's going to do it? Then all the hotels will either close down or American people will find a way to make maintenance workers, if you will, hospitality workers out of regular old American citizens. Enough of this. And it's not like Trump didn't promise to do this. The problem is, and I was telling Maggie earlier today, what did I tell you, dear, when we were talking about this, that the only reason that, play number 19 first. And I'll tell you what I told her.
Grateful for your support and your leadership. Mayor Bass and I talked just last week, and she is committed to ensuring that every single moment of terror, of injustice that happens here in Los Angeles and really across the country is recorded. And
Terror?
take note of every instance where people are being harmed. And so today I want to announce that the House Oversight Committee Democrats are going to record and create an investigative unit here to ensure that in Los Angeles, we look into every single brutal misconduct that ICE is committing.
Yeah.
it's not just going to be in the House. I'm also excited to announce that the Senate and Senator Blumenthal has agreed that the Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations will join the oversight Democrats to ensure that this is being done in conjunction with both the House and the Senate. So what does this mean? Beginning today, we are demanding that all records and documents, particularly when citizens have also been detained.
Stop the tape. Stop the tape. Stop the tape. Name one. Just give me one. Name one citizen, actual citizen that was detained. Now, when I say detained, I don't mean you were hanging out with 15 trendy Aragua guys and you happened to be the one Chino who was actually born in Compton, and they put you in the tank with the other losers, the other criminals, and then when they process you, you're an American citizen. Well, you still can't go because you're with cartel members who are terrorists, but you go in a different holding cell. And we're going to process you as a citizen. Name one citizen. So they're going to make a website. People are going to get killed. This is going to result in ICE agents being murdered in the line of duty. And it is at that point, well, what do you expect the president to do? He can have Commie Karen Bass arrested for sedition. I think she's already a traitor. I think Pritzker is already a traitor. I think Article 3, Section 3 treason has already been committed. I think that the Alien Sedition Act of 1798 has already been violated. I don't like it, but it's still on the books. The Sedition Act of 1917, they've both violated. So has Newsom. We're all violating. We stand for civil rights. Foreign members of other nations, especially those that have been identified as domestic, as terrorists, do not have American citizen civil rights. You know, it's almost as though, well, we're fighting for their freedom. You're fighting for the freedom of gangbangers? Now, play Stephen Miller. I don't know why. Maybe he has walked down the hall and maybe he has told President Trump, you had the legal authority. And I was telling Maggie, this is what I told Maggie earlier. I said, it is only, they call him a Nazi and a fascist and a dictator. It's only his restraint, like President Putin's restraint. It's only his restraint. It's only him going like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to check him out for treason. I know we can do it, but I don't want to do it. I want them to do the right thing. He still thinks that Commie Karen Bass is going to do the right thing. There is no indication, ladies and gentlemen, that they're going to do the right thing. So, again, you have to endure Hannity chiming in from now and then. And I don't know why Stephen Miller, who is a principal advisor to the president, I don't know that Stephen Miller has not told him, sir, you have the authority to bring this to an end. Let us do it. Let's bring it to an end. But you know what? I think that they don't like the optics of Commie Karen Bass being led into jail in handcuffs.
Trump doesn't like the optics. I think
because Trump had it done to him.
I think Stephen Miller would be.
You're right. If it weren't President Trump calling a shot here, because he was arrested, and he doesn't even want the charge that he's doing to them what they did to him. But in any event, here's Stephen Miller on the situation.
You have Democrats in New York City, for example, encouraging the rioters who are assaulting ICE officers, removing criminal aliens from their communities. You have Democrats trying to create tracking apps to tell the criminals, the fugitives, the rapists, the killers, the cartel members where and when ICE is going to be. You have Governor Pritzker trying to get ICE out of his city to protect illegal alien monsters who are committing crimes against children, against women, instead of protecting American citizens. This is a party that has embraced full-scale insurrection against the laws of the United States. You look at that arrest in Canal Street, for example, those 9 individuals, all illegal immigrants from Africa, almost all of whom were released into the country by the Biden administration. You have among them dozens of arrests, forgery, counterfeiting, drug dealing, narcotics trafficking, assault, battery, theft, domestic violence. And Democrats are saying these illegal aliens caught and released by the Biden administration not only should stay in our country, but they'll violently attack any federal officer who tries to remove them. And then more breaking news reported out by Fox's own Bill Maloogian. 3 people just died in California, killed by an illegal alien on the road, driving a semi-truck that was allowed into the country, caught and released by Joe Biden, and put on the road by Gavin Newsom. How much more blood has to be spilled by Democrats, Sean, before this madness stops?
And Magdalene Rose, our political affairs contributor, you said it before. Stephen Miller's really good at going on Hannity and yelling, but a lot of American people out here sitting out here going like, dude, you guys got to do something about this. How long before this spills over? And it's not just in L.A. and it's not just in California. And the bad guys decide. You know, I shouldn't even say that because I don't believe that the criminal element thinks you can get away with it in Texas or Louisiana. I don't think that or in Florida. So I think that they're probably going to stay out. But that doesn't spare Kansas. That doesn't spare Nebraska and other states that are not known for this. But the fact that you have another accident, is the president, in your view, holding back when he knows he can legally have these Democrats arrested and have them removed from office? Is he holding back because he doesn't want to do it because they did it to him?
I don't know if it's because he doesn't want to do it because they did it to him. I think that the Trump administration has gotten very comfortable with high approval ratings, and I think they're concerned about losing them. I mean, that's a real fear. I understand that, especially because we're not post midterms yet. But there are a couple issues like this that I see unhappiness about. The fentanyl issue that's really up and down the entire East Coast specifically, and in New England predominantly. There are a series of issues that the Trump administration is simply not handling. And I understand that the wars are a major problem. But there's a lot of domestic stuff that he was elected because of, and I don't see a focus on that, and I don't understand why. If he focused a little bit on fentanyl, nobody would lower their approval of him.
Well, can you give, I agree, and so does everyone else in the Crusader Nation out there agrees. Could you give me an example of one of those things that you want to see movement on?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think one of them has been that in certain states there are increasing restrictions on homeschooling. Whether that's in New England or in East Coast states, state legislatures have been passing them over and over. They're making it harder and harder to have religious exemptions for certain types of state-mandated curriculum. And the Trump administration really isn't doing anything about that. You know, Moms for Liberty, what has sort of become the predominant homeschooling advocacy group, and they're really hosting a lot of galas, and they're not doing a lot of grassroots things. I think those kinds of things people are getting concerned about.
Well, I think that there are also the low-hanging fruits, and I'm asking the question. Joel Salatin has a piece 2 days ago at the Epic Times. I'll give you the headline: "Stop the soybean bailouts." Salatin's buddies with RFK Jr. Why has RFK Jr. not told? Why hasn't he directly intervened with Brooke Rollins and the USDA? Meet with the damn ranchers and ask them what they need. You know, Trump puts mean tweets out on Truth Social about the cattle ranchers. I don't know why he's going to war against the guy. I love you guys, but you got to put prices down. Mr. President, with all due respect, why don't you have your agriculture secretary meet with these men and then ask them what the impediment to lowering the prices is? And this is just something, to me, this is just stupid. This is silly. This is low-hanging fruit. And you would think that there must be someone there. Again, RFK Jr. knows Joel Salatin. And this is not just like, oh, I met him at a meeting someday. No, he knows him. He's been to Polyface Farms. He knows him. Yeah. So I don't understand why some of these things that are to us so obvious, especially during a government shutdown. Tell the USDA meat inspectors they're fired.
Yeah. Well, I was just putting together a grocery order, and I just reviewed the prices of meat, and they're astronomical. I mean, it's ridiculous. You can get some types of fish that used to be much more expensive for cheaper than a steak. And I think that people are frustrated about that. I see the TikToks, I see the posts, and this is one of those things. Like, remember when I always mentioned Elon had the people voted for major government reform in his Twitter bio? That's gone now. We did vote for major government reform. I didn't vote for President Trump just for, like, the ending of wars, as silly as that may sound. But it's not just about the foreign issues, because those wars, yes, they might impact gas prices and oil and all that, but I voted for him because of domestic issues, much more so, because we have a lot of problems like that. The domestic focus in this administration, it's not been huge. I would like to see that turn around.
No, and I think that you're every woman. I don't think that she's Wonder Woman. I think that you're every woman. I don't think that you're saying anything or wishing for anything that is not practical. And it may be that this thing, this monster, this beast, this government is just so large that you just can't address all the things at once. And that, you put in your energy into where you're having success, and or that you prioritize things. Maybe they have prioritized illegal alien, getting rid of the illegal alien criminal trespassers. But you have an entire department that did do an investigation, and they put a lot of manpower into it and trying to discover what the causes of autism are. And I believe that those panels are ultimately going to strongly recommend that the vaccine mandate schedule be eliminated. And I believe that that's a course of action. Why can't the same energy go into, okay, we know that we have a problem in our food supply, and it is as a result of American wheat, and we are going to do something about it. We should change the policy. The second thing is, and this to me is just the easiest one, you have like a half a dozen ranches that are including Meriwether Farms. They're saying, Mr. President, if you will just meet with us, we will tell you what we need to lower prices. And the first thing that is needed, and this I believe the USDA has the authority to do this, or he could do it with an executive order, bring to an end the mandatory policy that says that in order for you to sell beef or to sell chicken and an open market somewhere, that it has to have gone through a USDA slaughterhouse. That's the impediment. You have other slaughterhouses out there that don't want to be regulated by the USDA. I know one. I literally know a guy here in Louisiana who told me it'll never happen. I won't do it. That guy can slaughter 12 head a day with just him and his dad right now. Now, if he brought some more people in, he could probably do more. That's just one simple example. And I think people's frustration is justified. And, we were able to raise our voices and tell them to stop when it came to IVF. I think if enough people scream loud enough about why the price of beef is, why don't you listen to the ranchers, maybe something will get done.
Well, I hope so. But I think this administration is starting to feel a little bit like, if we think back to the first Trump administration when Jared Kushner started to have a lot of influence. If you remember that, we started to see less of a focus on economic things, less of a focus on the big domestic issues. Really, aside from illegal immigration this time, it's beginning to feel a bit like that. And I wonder why, and I think it's kind of because the focus on the Israel issue, I completely understand Trump's need to do it, but it's beginning to feel like we're doing that in place of everything domestic. And I don't understand with such a big, competent team why that's necessary.
Well, it's not like he can run for re-election, and I don't think they're going to find willing patsies in the Democrat Party. Let's switch gears for a minute. I want to go fast here today. Last night, Andrew Cuomo may have finally ended Zoran the Magnificent Kami Mandani's pipe dream ascendancy to the throne in New York City with one soundbite. Maggie, I think it's, is it number 14? It's 14. I was waiting for this to happen. I kept going dude, just talk about who this guy is. This dude has gotten a complete and total lolly day at the media spa in New York media. The only people that have said a word about this creep is the New York Post that nobody reads. So finally last night, Andrew Cuomo stepped up to the plate and swatted one, I think, out the ballpark.
And
I understand my friend doesn't really understand government. The governor doesn't build housing in New York City.
Not if it's you.
No, legally, there are jurisdictions. The governor doesn't pick up trash. He doesn't run the fire department. That's what the mayor does. The mayor builds housing. The state allocates funding for localities. And I allocated more funding for housing than any governor in the history of the state of New York. All right? I did things. You have never had a job. You've never accomplished anything. There's no reason to believe you have any merit or qualification for 8.5 million lives. You don't know how to run a government. You don't know how to handle an emergency. And you've literally never proposed a bill on anything that you're now talking about in your campaign. You had the worst attendance record in the assembly, and you gave yourselves the highest raise in the United States of America. You went from $110,000 to $140,000, and then you never showed up for work, and you missed 80% of the votes. Shame on you. Shame on you.
Okay, finally, Cuomo just said, listen, son, sit down and shut up. This is your actual record here. Finally, you can go like, okay, I bet New Yorkers, New Yorkers are New Yorkers. They're still New Yorkers. And then I want to play you one more, then I'll get your comment. Play Curtis Sliwa. I mean, I thought Curtis Sliwa was on fuego last night. And watch this going like, well, if you're like, it's just even on the fence, why wouldn't you guys, Magdalene, the guy sounds like a New Yorker. He looks like a New Yorker. He talks like a New Yorker. And then he says this.
Once again, the architect of Raise the Age, Governor Cuomo, the apprentice to him, Zohan. It's personal for me. My oldest son, Anthony, last October was the victim of a vicious gang assault that could have killed him. And what happened to these juveniles? Cut free, because they went to family court, not criminal court. So how can both of you look at me? I almost lost my oldest son to gang violence, and the perpetrators went to family court and got a little pat on the wrist and was sent home to do it again and again. No. We need to start charging juveniles who commit violent crime in criminal court. And on the point, criminal court judges who follow the law and don't just release them because of no cash bail.
Again, now, that's a 2-on-1. Zoran the Magnificent, Kami Mandani, finally met some opposition, and he tried his little pretty boy, smart aleck way out of it, and I don't think that it worked.
No, it didn't work, and it's a frustrating thing because he is such a nothing. Like, if you really think about politics, he's a nothing. He has no accomplishments. The fact that people are falling for this nonsense, happy warrior, just ridiculousness is infuriating. And my problem here is that Andrew Cuomo and Curtis Sliwa, oddly enough, seem to be the only two people in New York City who were paying attention when all this started. And I really don't understand where the Republican Party was in this. Because I've read a lot about the process of Andrew Cuomo running for this office. He had apparently brought up many times to Democrat leadership that this was a problem, that they had to find somebody to go against him. No one would do it. The word was they were afraid to run someone against someone endorsed by AOC and Bernie Sanders. So he said, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it as an independent. What point are we at where Andrew Cuomo is someone of real, common sense in American politics?
Well, I tell you where you're at. You're 1991, Louisiana. It's Edwin Edwards versus David Duke. But it's where you're at. Yeah. You take the Klansman or the criminal or the crook, as the bumper stickers were saying back in 1991. That's where you're at. I will say the one thing about Cuomo, and this is not an endorsement. No, I'm not going to go to New York and campaign for him and vote for him. But I will say that the one thing about Cuomo, he's right. It does take some government and some actual hands-on experience to run a government that rules over and controls or regulates the lives of 8.5 million people. That's a big responsibility. The idea that you're going to give this to the Sharia law punk who's never held a job, has the softest hands in the entire city, and the only thing he's really good at is being photographed while smiling. It is the classic Trojan horse. You're going to vote for this guy, and you're going to support this guy just because it's Obama. It's 2008. It's hope and change. And you're going to get a lot of change, and you're not going to have any hope left at the end, or much hope left at the end of it. So that debate went pretty much that way. I mean, there were several instances where Sliwa was like, what did he say, Maggie? Zoran's resume fits on a cocktail napkin. Fit on a cocktail napkin. And Cuomo's, what did he say? Cuomo's rap sheet would fill out the New York Public Library, the shelves of a New York Public Library. Maybe that was enough to throw the thing off. And again, I'm going to just ask the question, and I completely agree with your assessment of this. Curtis Sliwa is not that bad of a candidate. He's done very well in both of those debates. I don't understand, you can't tell me Michael Bloomberg basically is an independent, quasi-Republican, 2 terms, or was it 3? Rudy Giuliani, America's mayor, 2 terms, or was it 3? Elected. You can't tell me that New York is incapable of listening to some reason and electing someone that can actually run the city and run it well. I don't know that that's Curtis Sliwa. His claim to fame as being the founder of the Guardian Angels. But why did he found the Guardian Angels? Do you know?
Wasn't it because the police weren't doing their job?
Correct. That's right. The Guardian Angels were there with their red berets. You could call them the Guardian Angels because NYPD was failing at the job. Now, that was before Mayor Giuliani. There was a need for that. So maybe it's not. Maybe it's enough at the end of the day. Let me just eavesdrop quickly here on what Speaker Johnson is saying about the government shutdown, which is now the second longest on record.
5% of flight delays are the result of staffing shortages. Right now, that number, at least 2 days ago, was 53%. According to online flight tracking databases, there were 19,000 delayed flights from Saturday to Monday, and an additional 1,600 canceled flights during that same period. That number is only going to increase as the Democrat shutdown continues, especially as air traffic controllers are set to miss another paycheck on October 28. We are rounding into a holiday season, as we all know, and we're in the middle of the height of the football season. This is peak travel time for the U.S. Hundreds of thousands of Americans are going to travel to football games this weekend, for example. And if the current trajectory continues, many Americans could miss watching their favorite teams and reconnecting with friends and family. So football fans, hey, if you're stuck in the airport this weekend while your favorite team is about to kick off, you can blame the Democrats for that, all right? They own this shutdown and they own the consequences too. So now here to share this firsthand perspective of some of the ways this shutdown is stretching thin American air travel and all of our air infrastructure is our extraordinary Secretary, Sean Duffy. And then after he speaks, you will hear from the chairman of Transportation and Infrastructure, our committee here in the House, our good friend, Sam Grace. Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for your time. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First off, I want to thank the Republican leadership team and Republicans in the House for your votes to keep the government open, keep the government funded. Usually this is a House problem. It's in the Senate right now. The Senate can't find the votes to keep the government open, and it's Democrat votes. And I thought you made a really good point, Mr. Speaker, that I do think in the Democrat senators' hearts, they want to vote to open the government up. They don't want to hurt the American people. But we've seen they have a radical base, a base that's out of control. And if they vote to open up the government, what's going to happen is they are going to be primaried. They are going to be attacked. Maybe their funding might dry up. And so this shutdown is not about the American people, not about the pain that America experiences because of the shutdown. This is because Democrats are concerned about their own hide, and they've sold the country to the most radical element of their country. And I think that's really shameful. It's too bad. I also want to thank the Congress.
Okay, Magdalene, I just want to give the Zion King a little bit of credit. These daily press conferences, whether the networks pick them up or not, they have to acknowledge that they're happening. and they are at least trying to get out in front of the issue before the usual suspects in the media going, this is all the fault of greedy Trump. This is all Trump's doing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We know that the Democrat line against the shutdown, Magdalene, we know it's not working. And how do we know it's not working, Magdalene? We know it's not working because they have pivoted to the construction of the East Wing Ballroom.
Yeah, that's very true. And that's not even working. Like, I think if Trump had done this in the first term, it would have been Trump is destroying historical property. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about this. all that they're saying is it's kind of funny that Trump is like funding a building project within the White House. This is like his biggest dream. That's the majority of the commentary I've seen on it. That people are saying this is probably the bigger dream for Trump than even being president, getting to construct something in the White House. Nobody cares about this. And I think Speaker Johnson, I mean, he's really showing he was a good person here for this moment because he is just boring enough to keep the conversation focused on the shutdown.
And, I mean, look, you're playing a good game. You're playing good cop, bad cop. But you're going up there, and I have to think that there are certain people in the Trump administration are going like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened, man. Especially like your boy, Russell Vaught. He's got to be going, let's see, shut down this one today. Check. Mr. President got another one. Shut down this one. Oh, look, 40,000 people that are getting checks and don't know what they do. You're furloughed. Bye-bye. I think that at the end of this, if it goes to be the longest in history, and if the Democrats like marry themselves to it, which it now looks like, there must be their conclusion. There has to be some polling somewhere. They just can't be doing this on a whim. Someone in some focus group must be telling them that this is a winning issue for them and them holding the line for Obamacare subsidies. You don't have enough people on Obamacare. That this ultimately works in their favor. I just think there's stupid people in both parties, but the most amount of stupid people is in the Democrat Party.
Well, it is. And the idea that Obamacare is something worth like dying politically over, I mean, that's laughable. Nobody cares about Obamacare. Nobody has cared about Obamacare in years. And they've been running these strange commercials where they talk about like how if we don't step in soon, boomers are going to have to pay more for health care. I mean, I can't tell you how little young people care about that. As bad as that is to hear, I cannot.
That's kind of cold.
But like the level on social media where people are like, "Oh, is that supposed to sway me? Like, is that supposed to matter?" Democrats have, for the first time, I think, lost the pulse point of what young people care about, and their reaction to that is just to deny it's happening. Like, I imagine there are people at the DNC who sit there every day and are like, you realize we're in crisis, right? And Democrats are like, it's fine. I think Hakeem Jeffries' general apathy and lack of caring has infected the DNC.
Well, let's see here. Do we have a Hakeem? I don't even want to hear Hakeem Jeffries. He's so boring. There really is nothing worth hearing. The only other clip that we have, we just quickly play the first minute or so at number 10, and then we'll. So, somebody asked at the impromptu press conference yesterday, asked Trump, it was a big mistake, I think. So, what do you say about your ballroom? You're destroying the history of the White House. Who gave you permission? You need to go to the commission. You need to do this. And Trump just does Trump.
Certain areas are being left. We determined that after really a tremendous amount of study with some of the best architects in the world, we determined that really knocking it down, trying to use a little section. You know, the East Wing was not much. There was not much left from the original. It was over the course of 100 years, it was changed. The columns were removed, and it was a much different building. Then a story was added on in 1948, 1949. There was a story added on, which was not particularly nice. And the building was very, very much changed from what it was originally. It was never thought of as being much. It was a very small building. And rather than allowing that to hurt a very expensive, beautiful building that, frankly, they've been after for years, you have that. I brought these along so people could see, but It's, there's a relative, nobody's actually seen anything quite like it. I think it'll be one of the great ballrooms anywhere in the world. It's about $300 million. It's set to do many, many things, including meetings of foreign leaders, including the honoring of foreign leaders. You can see this. This is a plan. If it's got tables so that you honor a foreign leader, we have a proper space. Right now, we have a space that with tables holds about 79 people. And this is a proper kind of a thing. Now, what the White House was doing, as you know, is they were putting tents out on the lawn. This is an interior shot of the ballroom. I think there'll be nothing like it. And it's being paid for 100% by me and some friends of mine, donors to it. The government's paying absolutely nothing.
Okay, so thank you. So again, over-prepared, knows what's actually going on, has built things. They're going to say, like, no, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And besides, there are donors that are paying this, and I am paying for it. And the East Wing, as he said, look, there are stories about the White House under Truman. There was an actual floor that collapsed. People act as though this is a superstructure that has survived since like the Acropolis or something like that. No, it has been constantly rebuilt because it was originally built in 1794. So nothing new here. I just don't. What is the opposition to that? It's just it's childish.
Well, it's ridiculous. And I think that one of the things is this is the kind of thing Trump could only do after nearly being assassinated, leaving office, like felony counts. This is the level of I don't care what you say about me that he operates in now. And Democrats just don't want to accept that. Nancy Reagan, when she came in, she said the Carters had done very bad things. The furniture there, she said it was a mess. The White House is in disrepair. She utilized the same tactic Trump is, where she had donors contribute to rebuilding the White House collection because the Mrs. Carter had sold out things or donated them in the name of spreading wealth or something.
That's right.
So this is not a new concept. Trump is simply doing it on a building level rather than a redecorating level. But Democrats hated when Nancy Reagan did it too because it burst the bubble that the Democrats before them were taking such good care of everything. When the Reagans moved in, the White House was dirty. Staff admitted to that because they didn't want to pay for extra cleanings. Trump's just righting a wrong that's been left in disrepair.
So Democrats, when they have property, treat it like it's Section 8.
Well, that's it. That's what's happened, yeah.
You go into housing project, you want to see Democrat construction projects, go to Desire Housing Project in New Orleans. I can show you one. As a matter of fact, I can show you one that my brother painted. Back in 1982, my little brother John painted the entire. They redid the entirety of the St. Claude housing project in New Orleans. They went in there and they spent tens of millions of dollars in renovation. They knocked the old windows out. They put new ones in. They put new siding up. Took the wood down, and they needed a lot of paint. Well, my brother John got one of the contracts, and he painted the inside of about 360 units at the time. And when they reopened them up and they moved the Section 8 housing people back in there, it looked like new apartment complexes that you would rent in a suburban bougie neighborhood. You know what it looks like now? Section 8 housing. And I can tell you what it looked like when they finished it. There has not been a paintbrush has touched an apartment in St. Claude housing project since my little brother John left there in 1982. And that's what the Democrats do. They treat everything like they make housing projects, like Section 8. So, all right, Magdalene, by the way, don't know what this is, but Kash Patel is in New York, and they've done some big, some sports gambling ring. Let's see, NBA gambling investigation spans 11 states. And they have made arrests here today. I have told people, Magdalene Rose, I have told people right here on the Mike Church Show, and I've said this publicly for the last five years, how is it even possible that it is permissible for professional sports to be legally wagered upon in all 50 states? This cannot happen. You cannot tell me that the players are as white as and pure as wind-driven snow. You're going to have basketball players that are going to throw air balls up when it's necessary. You're going to have football players that are going to run out of bounds short of a first down. You're going to have kickers that are going to miss kicks to win games and stuff. It's human nature. And, you know, the NCAA and the NFL for 60 years or 50 some odd years held the line, and then they cracked. That's right, Maine man. That's right, Jeff Johnson. And they destroyed Pete Rose because he gambled. He bet on. I'm not going to say that Pete Rose didn't do it. He was still Charlie Hustle, and he was still one of the greatest baseball players that ever lived. But they said, no, you can't have gambling in professional baseball. They have it every inning of every game now, and it's sick. And the fact now that they have busted teachers or they have busted coaches and players now for betting on their own games, this is not a surprise. This is not a surprise. I'm not surprised at all.
No, I mean, I'm not either. And I think we've had a lot of suspicions about that, particularly with football in the last couple bounces. I mean, Patrick Mahomes was suspected of that during the last football season as well. And I think one of the things that's occurred from that is that people have become much more suspicious of it. Football specifically, I think there's been a big focus on that. But this is what happens. I mean, the Institute of Sports in America is that you take men who are typically from lower income areas, rarely is it someone like middle class or high class, and you give them massive contracts and you drown them in money. As long as they do well on the field, why wouldn't they, in their minds, in order to get even more money, then sometimes take agreements to do things they shouldn't? That's the kind of system they've created.
And by the way, you know, look at what is happening here with this. You have Portland Trail Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups, Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, former NBA guard and coach Damon Jones were among 31 arrested as part of a widespread FBI investigation on Thursday. The investigation was tied to a probe into members of the La Cosa Nostra crime families. This is the mafia. This is the mob. It has their fingerprints all over it. And no one should be surprised. You know, we know that they were betting previously. We just they were doing it illegally. We know. Everyone knows the sportsbook has been going on. Everyone has seen a movie where a prize fighter takes the dive. You take the money and you take the dive. I know you're going down in the fourth round, Rocky. I won't do it. You can't make me do it, Mick. But everyone has seen the movie. This is not a surprise. All that the major sports franchise administrations did is make it legal. And again, you can't swing a dead cat by the tail. You know, you turn the NFL on CBS on any given Sunday, as they say. What do you see? What do you see? You see the FanDuel replay. Are you effing kidding me? The FanDuel replay? The DraftKings replay? The DraftKings halftime show? What in the...
Yeah. It's ridiculous. And it's one of the things, I mean, evangelical pastors have also asked the Trump administration to crack down on this because they've seen the effects it's had on men in their flock. And that's that's one of those things that I think has really gotten in Trump's orbit because they've all asked. All the evangelical pastors who pray over Trump, they've all said to him, please, sir, do something about it. It's destroying marriages. It's destroying families. And I think that's the kind of thing that Trump would really hear because he hates stuff like that.
Yeah, he does. He absolutely does. All right. Magdalene, thank you very much. Great job today. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, I could spend the rest of the day talking about this, but I'm not going to. I want to see all of you bright and early and shiny and hungry and ready to go for tonight's Thursday night throwdown. I have done screenshots of every person that's in the chat room right now. I know that you heard, so you're hearing me right now invite you to the 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, Thursday night throwdown, the Great American Hamburger Throwdown. So I know all of you. 6 Central, 7 Eastern. You can watch it on YouTube or listen to it on radio on the Crusade channel. So I know that you just heard me. You're all in the chat room. I screenshot your names. You're going to get a readout tomorrow morning.
Better be here.
If you're not here tonight, you're going to get a readout tomorrow morning. I'm going to go down the list, and I'm going to say, oh, look who didn't show up last night. Check, or rather, uncheck. Be here tonight. It's important. Todd, in Colorado, you have to go to confession tonight and Mass. Mass is the only exception. But don't say that in the chat room. Now you're going to have 38 people saying they had to go to confession tonight. Thanks, Todd. You see, you give them an excuse, now they all have it. You're going to have Protestants saying like, oh, look, my arm. I had to go to confession last night, KingDude. It is fun radio. It is trying to turn a corner here on the Crusade Channel. It's important. We need the dues and the numbers. It is an expansion of the sphere of talk radio broadcasting, hopefully to a brand new, wonderful audience that'll go like, oh, what's this thing you do in the morning, this morning show thing that you do? Oh, wow, that's kind of cool. Maybe I should listen to that too. People don't stop at restaurants that have nobody sitting at the tables. They go like, how come that restaurant's empty? Well, the same thing with radio stations and radio shows. So I implore you, I'm going to send an email out today. I'm going to beg all of you. I got all your names, all 55 of you, right now. See you tonight for the Great American Burger Throwdown. Maggie says she's bringing mushroom Swiss burgers.
I'm going to the store right now.
And look, you just tell us what your favorite burger restaurant is, or the best burger you ever had, and where you had it at. And if you got a screenshot of the menu or of the actual burger, more power to you. And we'll need 6 of you in the chat room tonight for the live portion. And again, it'll be a lot of fun. And hope to see you tonight. Hey, our crowdfunding is, do I still have the link? I do. There is the link in the chat room. 55 opportunities here to retire this $3,500 501c3 nonprofit ask to replace that backup mixer with the actual one that we had to put out of service because it died on us 5 weeks ago now. Please be as generous as you can, or just generous today, and click that link at crusadechannel.com/chat. Thanks to all of you who have donated so much. We really appreciate it. We're going to take a time out, and if news breaks out today, we'll break in. Otherwise, see you tonight, or be square. At 7 Eastern, 6 Central, right here on the Crusade Channel. Go to the YouTube. I'm going to put the broadcast up in just in the next hour or so on the YouTube channel. So if you want to watch the action as well, you can do that. Of course, you can watch it at crusadechannel.com on the live video link. News breaks out, we'll break in. If not, we'll see you later. God bless you, and Mary keep you.